All right, back-to-back broadcast Thursday night. Mahjong happening in A2 division. We are here for it. Andrew, one shot, our first dealer. Eric Isla on our right. Across the table, Riley. On the left, Kaz. In a matchup that is going to be quite intense here for these players. Andrew, of course, plus 46.1, attempting in these final two games in the series to climb up to a guaranteed promotion spot. Currently, that mark held by Vincent at plus 96.6. So if you can pull in 50 points in two games, can definitely achieve that mark. For Kaz and Riley, it's going to be a battle of avoiding the relegation zone. Kaz has a little bit of leeway here, but Riley is right on that edge. And for Eric, well, attempting to find a first place has not been had good fortune so far this season. But one first place could lead to another in a snowball effect to hopefully perform a miracle in 6 games. We'll see how this pans out. Andrew, very straightforward player, plays for efficiency, and for Ricci, currently Ishan 10 for Ricci Dora 1. Guaranteed to be on a Kanshan weight currently, unless the shape improvements, but if you were to find Tempai in the next draw, would be reasonably likely to slam it, as Ricci plus 1 from the dealer position is very scary for the rest of the table to try to handle. On the right, we've got maybe a Pinfu type hand coming together. Still 2 away from Tempai. Oh, interesting draw for a one shot here. Do you drop the door and hold the diamond shape? Do you cut away from the Kanchan? Or do you just hold for the door acceptance to throw it back? And unsurprisingly, do you see that 7-so thrown back? Let's see, across the table, we've got Shantan there too. And here's the Senpai going to slam the Ricci. So it would have Ricci Pinfu the Peiko chance if the 7 had been retained in favor of the Dora, but it certainly makes sense to want to retain the door here. And the 5-so is very live in the wall. We see 1 drawn by Cass, but the remaining 3 are still out there. We'll see if anyone chooses to fight here. Kaz is Ishanten with potential Itsu. Oh, I guess Itsu is not there. We need the 1 and the 4. So never mind that. But if he gets Tempai, will this 5 come out? Looks like he wants to not fight this. Going with a safe 5-mon. And now second 5-so drawn, so he might be able to think about fighting. Problem is it's really difficult to defend against what he's looking at right now. So we'll just go with the Genbutsu, not Genbutsu, but Suji 8-mon. And hope for some more information. Speaking of information, Ishanten again for Ayla, who will go ahead and cut that safe 4 pin. And Eric might just choose to fight. Oh, Khan? Khan into Ricci, perhaps. We'll see.
Kang,
Does take the fight. Tempai
eat.
slams it with the Suji 2-mon. Revealed the 2 pin to be Dora. That's not particularly relevant to anyone except for Kaz, who has already made the decision to fold here.
Tsumo,
Instead, the Tsumo comment on the 5-so. The Kanchan beating out the diamond weight. No Ura despite the con, but will pull in 2,000 all and grab the 2 Ricci sticks back. Big win for one shot there. Andrew now up to 37,000. And new high pie. Looks like he'll be aiming for Ricci again here. No direct path to opening. Has a door though. Love to see it. Ricci door, one is dealer, always a staple for Andrew. On the right, Isla doing okay. These shapes, no door just yet, but can accept it. Can shift into a Tanyao as well. And across the table, that hand looks like it's got a few too many terminals to be terribly exciting just yet. But good floating 6-so can accept a lot of good tiles, particularly at the Dora. And the left Kaz has a lot of Manzu, but a nice pin Jiamen shape that will probably make him think twice about forcing some type of Honitsu or Chinitsu. Does go ahead and preemptively cut this 8-so though, in favor of holding these honor tiles. Itsu is also a possibility. He wants to go for a little bit of value. Feels like it will be a little bit of slow going for all the players at the table this time around. Andrew does pick up a couple diamond shapes, and the south has notably come out twice. That must be a pair unless he draws the 9-mon or wants to take a tricky Shabo that's half dead. Notably, he's also holding this 3-so, even though the 4 will be accepted into the 5-6 anyway, because he wants to angle towards the 3-4-5 Sanchoku and gets rewarded with a 4-so draw. However, his final weight is looking a little bit difficult here. You could make the argument to cut the 9-mon instead of the 6-so there, and hold a Yonake shape. We'll open up for the Sanshoku Atosuke. Needs the 3-mon to win, and we're going to see a region from Isla. Richi, Pinfu, Dora 1, waiting 3-6-so. It's fortunate for Andrew, he got rid of those already, and draws the wrong side. Okay, new plan. South-south, hold your Tempai, and maybe be able to draw the 3 later. No, goes with the 3-pin. Okay, might be trying to shift towards 4-5-6. There's a 3-so drawn by Riley, and he's prone to pushing these every now and then. Will he choose to fold? Does. 8-mon comes out, not dealing that dangerous tile near the Dora. Even though Eric did discard a 5-so well ahead of the Richi. It's 5-mon, half Suji, but will not play it out. Instead, the Dora comes out. And now 3 Dora visible to the table. Probably not too scared about the value of this Richi anymore. There are 3 tiles in the ball still up for Tsumo. Andrew hoping to be able to cheat 2-5-so back into Tempai or draw 5-mon. Would have had to jam a 2-mon or a 5-mon at this rate, or a 6-mon, to be able to retain Tempai. So if he was not comfortable doing that, likely... Oh, well, 2-mon came out, so on the left. So it looks like perhaps Andrew missed an opportunity to beat Tempai here. That being said, does have the lead even as this goes to Ryukyoku. We'll pick up the 1,000 from each player. And have the dealership. Clear second place, or tenuous second place, I should say. 1, 2, 3 Sanchoku. It's possible here. North is the Dora. Always interesting to have a Yakuhai Dora. There's one in the hand to the right that can stick around for a little bit. Across the table, Chun and the Haku paired up. And when you have 2 Yakuhai calls available, you always look for a potential Honitsu. Unfortunately, the tiles kind of balanced out in each suit, except for the Sozu. So Kaz going ahead and discarding 5-so preemptively. Even 3-mon preemptively. This feels like a play for Toy Toy. Kaz is trying to find a different route to Mungan because the Honitsu isn't directly clear. Very interesting play here from Kaz. Not often you see a Toy Toy force like this, but you've got the 1-mon, which is relatively callable. The Haku as well, relatively callable. So, you know, the 4-pin might not be the best quality, but Toy Toy Dash is the plan. Andrew, on the other hand, Ishanten on the left. For Richi, potentially Dora 2, he could Dora Tonki, or maybe if he draws the 4-mon, can Richi Tanya with a 3-sided weight. I suspect if he draws the 1-mon, he will take the Richi Dora 2, and if he draws the 4-mon, he will take the 3-sided. Dora comes out once.
Boom.
And there's that 4-pin. Okay, so Kaz will...
Each.
Oh, but that gives the pay to one-shot, who will slam Richi. Richi Dora 2, waiting on the 1-4-mon. And now...
Each.
We're going to see a chase from Riley as well. Richi Itsu waiting on the 7-so. And of course, Kaz going for a Mangan of his own with the concealed Haku. 3-pin relatively safe. This is Tempai. Will choose to take it and just try to shut down his hand with a Genbutsu 6-pin snipe. Eric, very defensive player. Wants his dealership, of course. Ishanten, but with bad weight, might just try out this 6-pin because it's safe to both players. Not safe to Kaz, though. Wenso comes out first. Dodges. Con, surely not. Okay. Here comes another one, so an Ishanten found. Back again with another Itsu chance. If he draws the 3-mon, I think Eric will fight. As bad as this 5-mon looks. Oh, but the 7 is terrible. Is it time for the 9-pin? Two-pin. Perfect defense. Just following Andrew, rather. Hatsu is safe. And Eric survives, maybe? Does Kaz push the 7? It's Sushi to 1, but live to the other player. He's counting the middle tiles. It does come out. Ichi Itsu. No Ura, 5200 though, and all those Richi sticks. And Riley chasing Andrew down now. But what a defensive job by Eric. Has been kind of been that season where your hands are always in second place. Always a step behind the others, and the best you can do is defend. And manage to dodge a deal in that. I'm not sure I would have been able to. Riley opening up in the dealer seat with the Chun. This definitely feels Toy Toy dashable. Could be Honroto Toy Toy as well. Honroto Toy Toy Yakuhai. Maybe if a second Yakuhai is found, you can even turn that into Hanemon. But as dealer, 12,000 for a Mongon is certainly acceptable. It goes ahead and yeets the Dora out.
Gee.
That is an aggressive play if I ever saw one. Cass says, thank you very much. I will absolutely accept a Dora. Could I please have a Tone as well? Across the way, Andrew is working towards Richi of his own. Richi Tanya, perhaps? Currently very wide shapes. We'll give up on any sort of Itsu. And that will allow Riley a Pon. Hondo is the plan. Here comes the 8-pin. Ishanten now for Kaz. Heavily relying on this Ton to come out as Andrew finds Ishanten. Oh, and there's the 9 so. So he really needs to find a 9-pin. There's one left in the wall. Or one of these Yakuhai to pair up. And ultimate greed is to pair up a dragon and discard the 9-pin for Shul Sangen. Andrew will choose to open up here. Waiting on... Well, this is 4-7. But he'll Chi and get a much wider Furiten weight. 5, 6, 8. There is Sanchoku chance. There's a chance to move this Furiten weight into a good weight in the Pinsu. For example, if the 3-pin is drawn. Con, yes. Oh no, flips a Haku. Did not really want to see that. But that does mean that the Hatsutanki is much more valuable now. Kaz finds Tenpai. Atozuke on the Ton. The East still buried in the wall somewhere. Tenpai for Ayla with the new indicators. He will slam a Richi. Richi Sananko. Could have thought about greeting Suanko, but decides it's too late. Dealer's called twice. You know, everyone's called twice. I need to just slam the Richi and try to find the win. Here's another con chance for Riley. Does he take it against the Richi? No. Says, I'm not that greedy. Hatsu is safe. That was the new Dora. Andrew is shifted to a 4, so Dora weight. Jams the 7. Haku passes. 1-pin passes. If the 7 comes out, it'll be Furiten again for Andrew, so he might just stick with his Dora Tanki weight. Although there's only one left in the wall. Maybe the 7 is better. No, just decides to fold out. And Riley now sees a new opportunity for this Honoto with the East. Hoping that pairs up. And here's the Dora. Not gonna discard that. Although it is relatively safe. On this
Tsumo.
board. There's the Tsumo finally. Reached Tsumo Sanako Ura 1 is a Mangan. And just like that, Eric in the lead. Riley will now pass the driver's seat over to Kaz, who opens up with a pretty average high pie. Dreams of Sanchoku not really going to come to fruition here because you have too many blocks elsewhere. And the big question on this Penchon, do we want to cut it and hold this floating 5-so? Do we want to cut this 8-mon? Kaz is going to float everything with a 1-so cut. Anticipating being able to find a pair elsewhere later, or being able to use the 7-pin as the pair in the hand. Although if the plan is Sanchoku, 7, 8, 9, then the 7-pin is likely not going to be your pair. Guy's definitely tried to be as flexible as possible with his hand. Now finally gets up to 5, so holding all of these bad shapes looks very rough. Riley got the Hatsu out the door just in time because Eric immediately pairs it up the turn afterwards. Eric sits 2 away from Tenpai. Oh, and Riley though, he draws the last one a couple turns after discarding it. Does it come out again? Starts with a 9-mon.
Boom.
Yeah, whoa, Atosuke for Eric here. He sees the potential for Toy Toy though, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a full committal on the Hatsu. And the other players will be thinking, okay, which Yakuhai is this?
Boom.
And it's revealed. A Hatsu that just passed a couple turns ago was indeed the Yakuhai, and now the players at this table very concerned about the potential of dealing into a Mangan. But Riley's not afraid to push the 4 yet, says, you're not Tenpai. And indeed, it is just Ishantem. Back dropping away from the full 4-6 block. Andrew on the right might consider follow cutting the 6, but he draws the 8-mon. Tests out the 7, that's going to be called.
Boom.
Pon, Toy Toy, Hatsu, Dora 3. It's a Hanemon. This 3-pin, 2-pin weight not live in the wall. Riley needs to recognize the safety of the 6-pin. This is Tenpai. Will slam the 6-so. Yep, 3 6-pin weight. And Eric has nothing to do but to jam. Yeet. 2-pin now Suji, but Suji to both players. But you're guessing that Eric does not have a normal hand. Suji, you can't rely on that. So Kaz will be grateful for this 8-so he now has available to fold with. Andrew trying to get out of here, but is technically Ishantem. 5-pin still safe. One 6-pin in the wall versus 1 2-pin in the wall. Who does the wall favor? Or have you buried them both? Next to the Haku and the dead wall. There's the 6-pin. Andrew will not be discarding that anytime soon. So only the 2-pin live for Eric. Kaz defending with everything he's got. Andrew getting out there. There's the 2-pin! It will be the Hanemon Tsumo for Eric. Up to 50,000 points with the Riichi stick. And finally, a sign of life from the wall. Pulls in the last of the remaining tiles for that weight. And that means that moving into the South rounds, Eric, huge advantage. Andrew, the only other player at or above 30,000 points. And we'll recalibrate now. In moving to the South rounds, of course, you always want to consider your position and the context of the goals you have for your current placement in the league. Andrew probably says, well, I'm in the same place I was at the start of games. So we're gonna play normally. 2 away from Tempai right now with Kanchan and 2 diamond shapes. No Dora. On the right, Eric. 3 pairs. Might end up discarding 1 mon if this turns into Tanyao. Even here can consider a shift towards 6, 7, 8 Sanchoku or just cut the 1 mon straight away. Riley across the table. Fortunate to not have dealt in while defenseless in Ricci.
Boom.
And Eric will indeed open up for the Tanyao Ishantem. Riley hoping to be able to use this 9-pin. Once the 8-pin are pwned though, that can only be used as a pair or an Anko. So might end up having to discard that in the future. Kaz on the left, another hand that looks really difficult to play. Definitely going to be behind in this one. We've hit the second row. 1 player's opened. Other players are starting to discard their middle tiles. So if I'm Kaz this far behind, I'm a little worried that I'm not going to be able to defend if I don't retain his tile or 2 of safety. So that's why I think we're seeing Kaz cut the 9. So 8 so. Just holding on to this Hatsu to be able to at least pass the Patsu turn for the upcoming Andrew Ricci. Eric looking for 5-8 mon, 4-7 pin, 3-6 so. 4 so is kind of interesting. You could 8 mon. There's the template for Andrew. Finally hits it, slams an instant Ricci. And now Eric. The 4 is actually kind of jammable here, but he'll go with a safer 6. Of course, Ipatsu turn against dealer Ricci is very scary. And there's the 4 mon. It's a good thing Eric didn't try to push here. Can try to fold with 3 so. 6 pin, of course, Gambutsu. Sometimes if you don't think you have enough tiles to defend with, you might try a jamming. But on that quick check, it seems to have enough. And of course, in the lead, doesn't want to risk anything. This Ricci Pinfu for Andrew has 1 tile remaining in the wall. Tempting Riley to fight. This is Tempai on the 8-pin. Of course, the 5-pin as well. The 8-pin, of course, dead. So can we see a 5-pin? The 5-pin is actually Nakasuji, so Eric might jam it out, especially because he's Tempai here. And the 2 so just passed. Out it comes. Tanyao Pinfu. 2,000 points. Acceptable losses if you are in Eric's seat. I mean, obviously you don't want to lose any points, but it's much better to deal into that Dama 2,000 points than into the dealer Ricci. And in doing so, that will put Eric into the dealer seat with a very pretty looking high pie. Callable South, Dora in hand, in a great shape. Very promising to pick up those 2,000 points right back. On the right, also very good shapes for Riley. Can move towards Tanya, except Dora as well. Maybe even with the proper pin draw. Find a 3, 4, 5 Sanchoku. Across the way, Kaz finally a good looking high pie. Pulls in a great 3-pin as well. Maybe a chance at 1, 2, 3 Sanchoku. In fact, if he were to draw 2, 5 so 2-5 Mon right now. I imagine he declares Ricci with the 4 Mon instead of going for the Pinfu, angling for the 5,200 instead. In fact, there's even a world where he preemptively cuts the 4 Mon and tries to Sotogawa trap the Tuso later. Ooh, big South Unko draw for Eric. Still holding this 5-pin with a plan of drawing and making use of a second Dora. And that was an interesting decision from Kaz with the 4-Mon draw. There's an opportunity to have Ipeko.
Each.
And I think if his plan wasn't to force the 1-2-3 Sanchoku with a Tuso weight, then cutting the 1-Mon there makes a lot of sense because you can still get your Pinfu, you can get Ipeko as well. In the end, draws the 1-So, and we'll find Ricci Pinfu waiting 2-5 Mon. Which is very alive. 5 in the wall. Decent chance at Tsumo, but he really wants to find an Ura to make the hand at least 5,200 points. There's a couple chances at Ura too as well, with a full Mongan.
Tsumo.
And there's the Tsumo. Ricci Tsumo Pinfu. Currently 713 and no Ura, so it will just be 713. 700, 1300. Dealership passes once again. Riley now just barely below 30,000, but a big opportunity to jump above in the dealer seat with Tanya Dora 2. And pretty strong shapes. Big question mark is, are we going to be able to force the usage of both Dora? I think we should be able to, especially if we can draw 1-Mon or 4-Mon relatively quickly. I do imagine that Riley will call just about any Tanya block that he can. Even the 4-Mon 3-4-5 chi is acceptable. Oh, what a great pickup. Now there's even an argument to play for 4-5-6 Sanchoku on top of things. This could be massive if you can find a couple of 4-Mons. Unfortunately, that tile is being held around the board. On the right, Kaz with one of those aforementioned 4-Mons. And Tanya type shapes, holding for the acceptance of 2 Dora. But those are all locked, as we saw in Riley's hand, paired up. Across the way, Andrew as well, paired up there too. Ishanten for his own Tanya Dora 2. Maybe even Ipeko chance as well with a Ricci, if you can find a 6-pin. Eric on the left.
Home.
Nope. Hold that thought. There's the pull right into Tenpai. 4-7-pin. Waiting on the tile he just called is always very sneaky. But the 4-pin is so held. There is a world where Kaz drops one out, but... Oh, we're going to see another pull for sure.
Chi.
No, he passes it. That's a surprise. I think Andrew typically calls that and plans to move the Tonki to some other shape, but chooses to let this one go. Likes the 4-7 weight. And there is another 7-pin in the wall somewhere. Riley, of course, dropped the Dora to be Ishanten,
Chi.
but now is going to have to contend with a Tenpai from Kaz. Tanyao only, waiting on a Dora that will never come out, and the 8-Mon, which has 2 in the wall. Riley searches for the Tanyao call. Wonder if there was the opportunity to call the 3-Mon earlier. The shapes might not have been conducive to that idea. If he redraws the 5-pin, he'll have Ipeko chance and would discard the 4 and deal in. Even here, can consider dropping 2-Mon, 3-Mon. This is such a tough choice. Yeah, throws it back. I think this is correct. Eric holding on to this 2-Mon for dear life, preventing any Ricci from coming out. Here's Tenpai, but it's on a Tonki. would have to drop the 5 pin if he wants a chance to win, but probably will plan to swap out this 4 pin for anything else. And that would deal into Andrew for Tanyao door 2. South, how does that look? Once cut? Will Tonki on it? No Ricci. But in the end, the 4-7 pin weight does fall in favor of Andrew, so he will climb over 30,000. That's a really big swing for Riley. He now needs 39... sorry, that is 4,800 points to overcome this gap below 30,000, which means essentially a 5,200 point hand, most likely. Or a 3-Han 30 Tsumo with a Ricci stick from somebody else. And looks like Riley has an opportunity to build such a hand as he is working towards Chanta Sanshoku. Kaz in last place is going to try to milk this dealership for everything he's got. 2 away from Tenpai for Ricci Nomi. East is the Dora. One was immediately cut by Riley, which is actually a little bit of a surprise considering that he had a chance at Santoku Chanta door 2 using the East as the pair in the hand. But maybe on the first discard, the hand didn't look quite so readily available for that possibility. Andrew on the right, very classic hand. Tanyao Pihu. Likely end up cutting this 2-4 mon. And for Eric, just trying to stay atop the other 2 players. Safe from Mangan Tsumo to confirm a first place. And actually Ishanten with, albeit bad weights, but Ishanten is Ishanten. And 3 of the door will come out, so you're a little less afraid of what the other players are putting together. In fact, all of the door are gone now. Kaz will hold Ishanten here with 3-6 pin diamond shape and a 4-6-8 so Diancon waiting for 5 so and 7 so. Going to take just about any Ricci here. And Andrew going to take any Tanyao call. Here's Tenpai. Which way does Kaz choose? Probably the 4 so discard. Although it is Ricci Suji, cutting 4 so definitely feels a lot better than cutting a different tile and then the 4 so. And Andrew with this Ishanten says it's hard to fold, but jam the 5 pin, and Eric does fall prey to that Suji trap. And I think if it was just the 4 so by itself, probably would have looked for a different tile to try. Because it was 4 so went with a 7. Kaz will retain the dealership here. And that also means that Andrew is approaching Mangan Sumo range. I think he's still just short because the gap is 10,600. And he only gains 400 extra points with the Honba outside of the 10,000 you get from Mangan Sumo. However, look at this high pie. Nothing but Sozu. It's Chitoi possible. It's Chitoi Ishantem. And if he were to slam a Ricci here, say he draws the 8 so and slams Ricci on 9 so, no one would be expecting Honitsu. Could even consider Pon and cut the 4 so and go for Toy Torso, 8 9 so. You could be so greedy and no one would expect it at all. But here's the Hatsu, passes it. Andrew wants first place. He's going to try to reach you for Hanuman. There's the Haku as well. This is a different type of Ishanten, still Chitoi Ishanten, but also now regular hand Ishanten. If the Hatsu comes out, he could call it for Tenpai. Here it comes, Pon. Now waiting Pei Haku, once cut for both. And they look relatively safe too, because they came out before. It doesn't look like you're doing Honitsu. So Eric might drop it and deal into the placement swapping Mangan. However, Riley has other ideas. Slams Ricci, Pinghu, Dora with Itsu chance on the 6 pin that just came out from Eric. Eric, a tough defensive task here. Finds the Ippat Tsumo! Reach, Ippat Tsumo, Pinghu, Itsu, Dora! Can't find an Ura for Baimon, misses! Just the Hanuman, but that will exchange places with Andrew, who dips below 30k as a result of that huge Takame Tsumo from Riley. Isla barely holding on to the first place, but does lock it in. Plus 24.7 for Eric. Riley, 12.5, will move up in the standings as well. Andrew, minus 5.9. Frustrating way for that game to end, given how close he was to stealing a first place there and ends up with a negative score. Definitely quite unfortunate there. He's probably going to have to think back on those past calls and wonder, should I have taken those? Who knows what would have happened, though. The 3-so would have gone to somebody else. And could have been retained in hand, so anything could have happened at that point. And for Cast, what an unfortunate game. Nothing really going his way. Everyone with great speed, just outpacing any of his hands. But we'll have one more game to try to make up some more points. The way these placements balanced out puts Kaz and Riley about the same points position. All right, well, we've got game number 2 starting soon. We'll put that in a second. I am quite interested in checking the results from the A1 match that happened. Max taking the first place, Dustin the second place. So that means Dustin in the hunt for the top seed at the A1 for the A1 championship. He's going to have to catch Simon, who catapulted himself higher in the standings, but good positive start for Dustin. And if you'd like to see Dustin, I believe he is streaming those games with a 5-minute delay on his channel, twitch.tv/QETC. We are into the second game of the evening for this A2. This is the final game of their series. All right, Eric in the dealer seat. We've got Andrew to the right. Right across the table, Kaz on the left. And as I was going around, I was looking at the high pie to see if there were any exciting hands and not really seeing anything. Everyone right around the same spot, Shantan-wise. Awkward Hakudora, held by Andrew for the time being. Eric perhaps with the advantage in the early shapes. Oh, take that back, Riley looks pretty good too. But no one with a tremendous amount of value just yet. Outside of maybe Kaz. Kaz has the value play with the Sanchoku Junchan. Ooh, turns into Chanta, but if he can reach you with it, Sanchoku Chanta closed is still quite good. Notice he's holding this 9-so over the 7 mon, hoping to pair up that last 9-so and aim for Junchan instead. Considering the merits of this 1-pin versus the 9-so, and says, you know what? There's also just one pin in the wall, but he likes that idea better. And he's correct. 1 pin is in the wall, and the 9-so is being held by Eric. Oh, door pair up just as it comes out from Riley a couple turns ago. So this gives Andrew an interesting option here. Let's go 9-pin, 9-pin, 2, 4, 6. Okay, gonna hold all the pairs here. This is essentially a 6-block hedge. Still can make use of the Mon shape, but gives up maximum acceptance. And this is a really sneaky Suji on the 7. You're not really expecting, even with the 2-4. Usually that Suji comes with an earlier 2-4. 2-4 this late. Definitely a little bit unusual. 7 on twice cut though, so a little tricky for Andrew. I don't think he wants to use any of those tiles. Another pair. Is this actually Chitoy? No. Says no. And Riley will be Ishanta now with that 5-pin pickup. Richie, Pinfu, Tanyao, Ipeko. That's a Mongun. Finally useful tile for Andrew. Out goes the Monzu, but we're going to see a Richie on 2-5 Mon. 1-2 Mon left, 2-5 Mon left. And that's the one he really wants, live in the wall. Kaz drops the door. It was safe to the Richie. Andrew snatches that up. Instantly, Tempai. And he would have drawn the 5 Mon that dealt in. Instead, Kaz draws it and holds it. And Andrew, with his value, is just going to jam. It's a Mungun versus a Mungun. Who would win? 2 Mon drawn. Retained. 7-pin comes out. The 2-so is live in the wall. The 9-pin has 1 in the wall as well. Eric draws the 2. It's not a very good looking tile. Maybe it goes with the 8-so. 8-so safe. There's the 2-so, and Riley is going to deal into the Mungun at no fault of his own. Andrew, the beneficiary, will grab the Richie stick as well. $39,000. So the game's starting a similar fashion to the way it did in the previous. Andrew with the lead and the dealership. Dora's the 6-so. Central Dora. I mean, it's much easier for other players to make use of. And also combine Yaku such as Tanyao, Pinfu. Great pickup by Andrew with the door accepting 4-so. Now sits 2 away from Tempai. On the right, another Pinfu-esque hand for Riley. As Andrew proves to Ishanten. Kaz across the table looking very good as well for a Pinfu Tanyao. Trying to find that 5, 6, 7 Sancho as well. It is Ishanten for that hand. And Eric on the left, another Pinfu hand with 2 Dora. I imagine if the 4-pin comes out, he will chi that for Tanyao Dora 2. But instead, we'll go ahead and cut the 7-so. Sakiki that. Hold the safer pay for the Richie tile. The overlap in the Mon block is a little annoying, but you can't do anything about it. That's just the tiles you were given. And here's Tempai for Cass, going to slam the Richie, waiting 5, 8. So there's the 8-so. Eric has the value to fight with, but that 8-so is going to deal in. And another 5-so drawn by Andrew. He does not want to jam that, but if he draws the door, he will. And there it is. The 5-so comes in. 3-sided weight. It's not going to matter because that does deal into Richie pin for Dora. Uda is going to make it sting as well. So another hand where you don't have a choice but to fight. And the first Richie prevails this time. Yeah, in those situations, you just got to hope that you get your hand too. Currently, we've got Andrew and Kaz in the lead. Riley, though, in the dealership. Hand looks okay. Might be able to turn this into a Tanyao and use the door. I imagine the 1-2 pin comes out here. And then imagine the 7-mon draw would be huge. 3-sided weight with potential Tanyao, and you guarantee the usage of the Dora. On the right, Kaz considering opening here with Atos Geton. Let's a pass. Still reasonable strong shapes, holding the 7-mon in hopes of drawing the Dora, but now that his blocks are a little bit more solidified, does give it up. Eric across the table, really desperate for a second Dora for Ipeko, Dora 2. Even considering... Oh, it's Andrew who considers the Pon. Calls out those games. Now gets the Hatsu. We're trading Pons. Does the Haku come out? No, 8-pin first. Riley reconsiders. Cuts the 8-so now. Still Ishanten. And of course can use the 8-mon draw. who will get it first? 2 players can use it. 2 players cannot. That is Tempai, but it's a really bad Tempai. Riley will Dama. And there's the 8-mon. It goes to one of the players who cannot use it. Kaz will force usage, though, for the time being. Maybe if he draws into Tempai, he'll consider cutting it, but is very worried about Andrew having a Shabo 8. Oh, and there's a second 8-mon. All right. We will be able to use the Dora. That's a huge pull-in. Riley can now pull this and wait Dora Tonki, but chooses to pass. Might reach this one with a better weight, even though it doesn't use the Dora. And if that happens, Kaz can call pull on the 8-mon. No, holds the Dora. Everyone's so afraid of discarding it here. Tanyao, Dora 1 would be 3,900 for Riley if someone should drop the 7-mon. Every discard, that Ricci button is popping up for Riley, offering him the chance to declare his readiness to the table. He has to consider it every single time. Do I try to scare these players off their hands? By holding this Dama, though, he's giving Eric a chance to deal in. I mean, if Eric draws 3-mon, he is very likely to reach you with a 7. Almost thankfully, Eric hasn't been able to pull in a useful tile. In the meantime, Andrew's making the long trek to Honitsu. Ishanten now. Well, there's the Haku. 3-pin, 2-pin. Eric's moving in the direction of Honitsu as well. No one wants to cut a Mon tile. In the meantime, Kaz fights Tempai and Totsue. 8-mon. 4-pin.
Long.
1-mon was gone, but the 4-pin will come out, and it's Tondora 2, 5,200. What a wild series of events this round had. And Kaz will take a clear lead now, moving into his dealership. East 4. It looks like Kaz with a reasonable high buy here. Dora floating in the upper Manzu. 1 completed shape. 3 relatively strong shapes. Even going so far as to Sakigiri to 7 so. And set up a potential Sotogawa trap later. Very spicy. Didn't work for me when I tried it, but you never know. East, of course, would be double tone for Kaz, so lots of incentive to float that acceptance as well. And this is something we've seen a lot from his playstyle, as he tries to float all of the possible acceptance. Super efficient. The tone will leave now as he finds Dian Shantan. Eric, slow hand building on the right. Not terribly valuable either. Across the way, Andrew opens up with the Yakuhai West, anticipating a door draw. Outside of that, not terribly expensive. And on the left, Riley, lots of pairs. 4 pairs. 2 away for Chitoi. That is a route to some value. You can always flip Uda too, and now Ishanten. Ooh, I like the idea of 4-so cut there to set up a Suju trap on the 1-so. And if he were to draw Tempai, I guarantee Kaz would drop 1-so. Unless he had a Tempai of his own, and Kaz is working towards a very exciting Junchan Sanchoku Dora 1. Oh, we're getting there. Found the 9-so. Now has the blocks confirmed for Sanchoku Ishantem. And Riley, with a Chitoi, can discard tiles at random. The 8-mon, not a very good Chitoi tile, so it might come out. Although he can see 3 of the 6-mon, which means the 8-mon a little bit tricky to use for other players. Oh, Junchan Tempai. Okay, Kaz will stick with the 3-han here. Take the immediate Tempai, especially given that other players are opening up. He wants to be able to win the hand, and no need to greed too much. 8 mon still alive in the wall. 3 of them in total. No one else Tempai here. Riley might be making the full Honitsu shift. We'll see. 6 pin. That's a commit. Eric now Tempai 3 so 8 so. That means he will discard an 8 mon if drawn. There's another Sotal for Riley. Surely that's Ishantan. It actually is not. Ooh, pay. That will come out and be called. Sure.
Pom.
Okay. Now into Ishanten for Riley. Yakuhai Honitsu. A lot more value than we were expecting from the start of that hand. There's the 8. That'll be held by Andrew. Waiting 3 so, 6 so. This is a Tempai 5-8 for Riley. So 3 so discard is double roan. 8 so discard is double roan. And Kaz, a player who has a manga on, or sorry, dealer 77, will discard those tiles. Draws a Dora late. That is so bad. Has to give up on his hand. Might not even be able to hold Tempai here. We'll see. What he draws. 3 so, that's terrible, but can cut the 1 so. That one's actually safe. Does he spot it? Does spot it. Well played. And we're going to go to Ryukyoku. If Eric wants to pass this 8 mon, it's a little suspicious, but it does come out. All 4 players, Tempai, well played by all. Love to see rounds where players successfully manage to dance around each other's hands. And what a sick dodge by Kaz in the final hand.
Well, I think you've been holding things down pretty well there, Nathaniel, but I think you might prefer to have someone else in here.
Absolutely. Welcome, Korak. This has been, these games have been really, really interesting to watch.
Yeah, that was some nice dodging there, and something to always remember, especially get to those late discards. Having a Yaku doesn't really matter if the hand's going to a draw, so really good dodges there by Kaz.
Of course, we'll retain the dealership as a result of maintaining Tempai. Saipai looks pretty strong. Can turn into Pihu, could have 5, 6, 7 Sancho as well. 2 away from Tempai. On the right, Eric.
Well, this is the old stalemate situation. Everyone has one door. The question is who's the first to cut it and immediately open everyone else to be able to dump it.
Yeah, that tends to happen with Yakuhai Dora quite frequently. Oh, it looks like Kaz is going to be the first. I think he could have jammed the 8 mon first, but being Ishanten, he wants to get it out there and know if somebody needs it. And also get it out there before somebody has paired it up. And there's the Tempai.
Each.
Yeah, you just slam this one. I think I like the tune cut there because you could always sort of pair up the 5 mon or 8 mon and just go Tanya cutting the 9-9.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And all the door will now leave everyone's hand. Richi, Pihu, Takame Sanshoko on the 5 pin.
Uh-oh. We have a problem here for Eric. It will be the cheap end, but that looks like it's going to deal in fairly soon. Like right here.
Does he jam it? Nogura, so not the biggest punish. 900. Still leaves Eric in range. Especially given that it's only East 4. Kaz doing okay in this Haipai as well. 3, we call this 4 Jamban shapes. This is just Pinfu, 3 away. Eric, callable Hatsu on the right. Maybe there's a long-term shift to Honitsu even. But we'll just play pretty standard now, I think, with the 2-3 so drawn.
And you're always keeping it in mind as to whether you're going to make that shift. But for now, when you get those good blocks, you still have 2, 3, 4 Sanchoku routes, and you can just call it down for whatever you need. I think this is fine.
Ishunted for Andrew across the table. Also has the option to call the tune and cut the 7/9, so using the 2 Dora that way. Oh, Tempai though, we'll
Each.
just
Well,
slam the
that's just
Ricci.
Tempai. You're a little sad you have to cut the Dora there, but Ricci +1, good weight, turn 4, easy slam. Speaking of good weights, we have Dealer here who has a choice to fight this and just isn't going to.
Yeah, Kaz with the lead does not want to deal directly to Andrew here.
I mean, you had the safe 8 Sodora, but maybe taking a little greedy route here. And especially with that 8-6, the 8's obviously safe. The 7 isn't that bad either. I think this could have been played a little more aggressively.
Now, although, I mean, the draws have been pushing Kaz in the direction of playing aggressively anyway. I mean, how do you defend now? You've got 8 Mon, I guess.
Now, 5's Nakasuji, so I'd cut it twice.
Yeah, we'll start with the 8 and then probably the 5 next. Could even Chi here.
I'd absolutely Chi this. Probably just doesn't want to throw any of those pin tiles. They do look pretty bad against that hand. But again, it's still a turn 4 Ricci, and you don't have really any information. You've seen 2 of the Dora out, and 1 came out from the Ricci, so you shouldn't necessarily be expecting too much.
Ooh. I think
But just throws the 2, because of course it was clear there on the right.
holding the 2, though, gives you a better chance at being able to fight this hand.
Yeah, because then you could pull this, cut the 5, and your Tempai. Well, you can just cut the 5 anyway. But I have all these potential Flurry 10. This could already be Tempai for Ricci Tanyo.
No, well, it's Tempai
Well, now you have a question. Do you take the 3-sided Flurry 10, or do you throw a 4-mon, or do you just cut the 3 pin and kind of hedge both?
It's going as far.
Instead, that 7 just like a fold.
Yeah, this is the safest possible way to play this hand from Kaz's perspective in this lead. And remember, Kaz is on the bubble here for the relegation zone, so definitely trying to avoid losing any points. Ricci Dora from Eric.
No, Urban Andrew will certainly take that.
Yeah, within range of taking first. And we move back to Eric. South one.
Yeah, speaking of the bubble, Andrew's on the other side of it, looking to promote, but currently about 50 points back of Vincent, and has Kenyon and Aaron to overtake as well.
Eric taking his time in this discard. It's a very important hand for him, and wants to make sure to play this as properly as possible. Oh, what
Well, now it's just
draw.
Sanchoku. Do you get super greedy and cut 3-4 Mon, or do you just cut the 6 and play it kind of as is?
Yeah, there's some huge value potential with perfect draws. Oh, there's one perfect draw. Is it
well, I think you just go 3-4. Oh, I don't. I mean, this gives you the better route towards Tempai for just Ricci Sanchoku. At the same time, this Ricci Chanta Sanchoku seems so much more fun.
He's reconsidering. He reconsiders. Okay.
Okay, he says, you know what?
Aside.
That was a mistake. We should have just gone for it. And now you just immediately, you know you're going to draw the 2 or 5 on this turn. That's how it always works, isn't
of course.
it?
As expected. It's okay. It's okay. It's still a relatively efficient shape to have. Yeah, I can definitely just given the standings.
Oh, well, now you have a Dora. I would have definitely floated that too, so.
Yeah, I think it's smart to play for the max greed here. Oh, now punished.
Ah, because there's a different route to Chanta.
Right.
You don't even need the Sanchoku necessarily. Or even just cut the 1-2 pin.
Right, that would be the likely route here. Oh, draws the Haku. Okay.
Oh no, his head is just getting sadder and sadder. What could have been?
I mean, I'm pretty optimistic.
Just the misery of backfires.
Because now we can draw the 1 pin and have a different Tempai. Like, we have multiple draws now for Tempai that don't involve relying on the 3 pin. 3 pin, a good tile.
So what's the worst Tempai you could get?
7
Mon pair up. That's what has to come, right?
Naturally. And what's most live in the wall? Probably the 7 Mon.
Yeah, the 3's near dead. Actually, you pair up the 1. That doesn't look too bad. Oh, wait, no, it is 3 out. So, yeah, they're just one of those Ugh.
2 8 mon in the wall. Haven't really been looking at these other hands because Eric's has been so interesting.
Well, that's a really nice hand across the way, and also a backfire,
1
having drawn the door after cutting the 1 from the 1-3.
It backfires galore in this hand. But when you're trying to force a certain shape, it's bound to happen.
Well, and I don't blame Eric for this. Eric is in a position in the stand where he just needs to go.
Tusorichi?
So, oh,
Oh,
just gonna Dama here. There's no Yaku. Oh, actually reaching the
1
7's really good here. Okay, you're just gonna take, forgetting the Haku, we'll take the Sanshoku. I really like Richi 7-Mon and just wait on this 9 Tonki.
yeah, I mean, Tonki's super strong, of course, but
Oh, well, if the 8 comes out, then that's gonna fix that problem.
Eric playing for the value here. So there's one more 8mon on the wall. There's 2 4mon if Riley can Tsumo. It's interesting he went the Sanshoku route, did not want to drop the Dora.
Well, the Advantage Eric does have a Suji trap
4
here, and there it goes! Does get the value and the win. Richi, Sanshoku, Chanta, Iniura's
Ooh.
Hanemon, and gets 2 of them, and that's what Eric needs to come back in this game.
Oh, what a big swing there. Now Eric is the 1 over 30k challenging Kaz and has the dealership still. Sanshoku never loses.
A pretty nice hand, too. You can't complain about these blocks. Might even heading towards another Chanta hand.
Yeah, I wonder at what point we cut the Tuso.
Honestly, I like cutting the 2, so maybe even first turn, even before the Haku.
Yeah, it feels like we can float acceptance in a lot of different shapes. But wants to...
I don't really like that 3 mon, because I see a different Sanshoku route now.
Right.
But with that 3, it's gone.
It feels like Eric is really trying to be able to use 2 Dora if he draws. But even if you draw 2 Dora, you can just have a 1 1 2 3 4 shape, essentially. In the meantime, on the right, 2 Dora in Andrew's hand, although the shape's still lacking a bit there. Across the way, Riley is 2 away from Tempa with a route to Itsu if he drops the 2 3 Mon Diamond. Instead, he draws a second
Or just
Dora.
pair up the Dora and say forget it too.
On the left, that looks like a Tanya for Kaz. Maybe a hand he can just call down for
That
this.
is definitely Tanya. The question is how can you get it to fill? And you see Eric is tempted to cheat that, but that is not a good cheat. It slows hand way too far down. Now that 2-pin cheat for Kaz, I might have taken. There's a much stronger case there because the shapes are just a mess. You have double overlap, and even that Monzu shape's not particularly fun to use, but it's easy to call. Everything in that hand is easy to call, but there's never any value.
Right, and maybe for that reason, I almost want to just call this hand, get it over with, because there's no value. That means the other players have the value. They have the Dora.
Yeah,
I don't.
and you're getting your first place. You're shutting down second place's dealer turn.
It looks like Kaz is not going to... So you can play defense by offensively winning the hand. It looks like Kaz is going to try to play defense by
1
not doing so. Okay, we'll finally call. Still overblocked, but has so many possible calls. Depending on what Riley
1
drops. Here comes that Ricci.
Well, there's our Tempai. Ichidora 2 waiting on 8 pin. There are 2 of those on the wall.
And Kaz is probably like kicking himself. I shouldn't have called and dropped my save tile.
Well, I don't mind the call, but I think you could have gone around this without throwing the saves because that 3-4 isn't particularly useful. The 3-4 so, because you don't ever want to have those tiles floating around in your hand anyway. With a 1 Sodora.
Right, and here Eric as well, like, has this Chuso still in hand that he can never drop, and so instead folds out. Or at least plays the Mawashi game. Still 1 8-pin in the wall. Riley's out. That's nothing to do with this.
Yeah, Riley doesn't want anything to do with this. With 2 Dora, you could make a case for going for it, but there's just no safety in that hand. Alternatively, the other argument is if there's no safety, you might as well push.
Yeah,
Yeah,
most.
like what do you do now? And ends up dealing in anyway. And that's the worst feeling
Mhm.
is when you're trying to fold, you don't get a safe time. Oh, the aura, that hurts. And then you just end up dealing it anyway and killing your chances to win.
Right at that point, you're like, I might as well have pushed. I had a lot of that in my first couple games this session. Just folding and then dealing in. But Andrew now back up to 27. Really hoping for a positive finish and has a dealership to work with. This looks like a great high buy. How do we get
Yeah, doesn't
value?
really want to play for the Itzu here. Probably going for Tanya and Sanjiku, although this one may kind of put some of those roundup plans.
Is there a Doko?
I mean, this hand is one that could actually make it happen, but you do need an 8, and you need it fast. An 8 mon.
Yeah. Riley also looks like he can play fast with the Onko of double south already. Oh,
Well, the fastest hand's the one across the way that just headless Ishan 10.
Yeah, good point. Of course, Riley not declaring con here. Would you just con the south?
With how bad the rest of those shapes are, I don't mind holding this. I might call it now just because basically any pin draw helps you.
Has only improved his shapes now with a 6-7 Geoman in the Sozu. Can find Sancho with a 2-so or 3-so draw.
Okay, once you've made that chi, you should be planning to call this turn.
Yeah.
Call the con this turn.
It takes a second on the one to be like, really? That's okay. I already have a pair. I think.
Well, the problem is if you chi the 4 mon or the 8 pin, you're going to have to cut the south, and you really don't want to do that.
Right.
By the way, Suanko Ishan 10 for dealer.
Yeah, forget Doko. He tried. He tried. This is better. Tempai for Kaz, but that's not a good Tempai. He could legitimately throw
Yeah,
it
it's a
back.
random Tonki. It's which Tonki do you believe in? And Andrew says, I'm just going to take my Tempai. It's good enough.
This is not a good Tempai for Kaz either, but it's Dora.
It's Dora, so just going to wait Dora Tonki. And this Dom I definitely like. Just sit here. There are lots of improvements if you get a Mondra.
Yeah, and Andrew will deal into it.
Even that's probably no, it's not. That's not good because you're just waiting on the 2. The 5's dead.
Oh, you're right. Swap to it anyway.
I mean, it does kind of give you a safe tile. It's not really what you're thinking. Tempai on the left.
I mean,
Which weight? Might deal in with the 2 here.
Oh, doesn't. Somehow susses up the 2 is bad. Probably not. Probably just looking for a better weight. Or maybe even waiting one turn to try to disguise the Suji. Go for a Katagiri Richi. Oh, there's the 2, but
well,
it's not gonna,
that's
going to
deal in a cross. The hand on the left doesn't have a Yaku, so cannot call the win here. But Tanya Odora 1, as Kaz will take that.
Right, so it's Riley's turn to try to make something happen. Door draw, excellent. Shapes, very strong too. All across the board, pretty strong. To the right, to the left. For Eric, those are slightly more awkward.
Well, I see a hand on the left that just double Yaku high, and I want Honitsu. The question is, can you get to the Honitsu? And it's going to come down to how fast everyone else is. And is that Chitoy across the way?
I mean, it's
A
turning into
monster
it.
Tanya on the right. Just a Tanya here for dealer as well. Tempai on the right for just the 1,000 says, I have the lead. I don't need anything more. A 50,000 first is plenty.
Andrew now considering Daisangan, considering Chitoy, considering Honitsu, goes ahead and cuts the Chun.
The way he's playing that, he just wants the 1 or 2,000. Which I don't. Okay, well, I mean, that you take.
Hatsu might come out here.
Yeah, it's very loose in Eric's hand.
Does find the Haku, which would have dealt
Oh,
in.
and if he calls this, he's going to deal in.
Okay, he dodges.
Well, they also had passed the 5 months, so you weren't expecting to go for the toy.
2 pin still safe. Oh, this template for dealer, and
Tempai for
I
dealer,
think he's
you're
gonna
in fourth.
slam.
You have 2 door. You should slam this.
리치,
You hate cutting the Dora indicator, but out it goes and it passes.
Well, you're fourth place. You're dealer. There's only one hand after this, so you just chase.
Cass says, I am out. Good luck, everyone else. Eric's now gotta defend. Right, so it's relatively
The
safe
one
here.
so doesn't look too bad here, but the 9's Suji, so that's obviously going to come out first.
Only 1 tile on the wall for Riley's weight. Looks like Eric's got a few defensive tiles now.
Oh, and that's pushing Eric towards just pushing this, but not going to do it. Stays disciplined.
1 1 1. I think does 6 pin come out after the Ricci too?
There's a chi. I don't think so. Well, now it's decision time. And yeah, I thought that one so looked fine earlier, and eventually has to just shove it.
Cass draws the last 5 pin. It's Nakasuji though. Yeah, that
롱,
And deals in and goes straight to dealer. That's definitely not what you're expecting there, but that's why you take the Ricci. Picks up 9,700, gets stick back, the stick from the left, and now very close. Still in fourth, but very close.
we've seen some wild point swings in this game, and all things said and done, everyone's still kind of got a chance at hitting 30k, especially if Riley can continue this dealer run. What a fill.
And then you just get a couple more draws like that, and you're just tempi.
Nice.
Best hand, though, may be on the right. You just have the ugly 2, 4, 6, 8 pin weight.
Yeah, but Eric did draw the Dora Contron fill across the table, so his hand's also looking quite speedy. 2 away from Tempai with great shapes.
Dealer Ishunten looking for a pair. Across the way, and similarly very close to Pinfu. 3 so would help it immensely.
Well,
Okay, dealer's just now even wider headless. You even cut from one of the Onko if you fill the shapes.
yeah, so interesting spot here. If you draw one so, for example, do you Ricci waiting on the 7, or you Ricci Dora Tonki?
I'd reach Eudora Tonki. It also depends just where you are in the standings, but I'm always an advocate of Dora Tonki. And if it weren't that good, if this were just a random Riichi Nomi, I might even consider cutting the Formon.
리치,
Yeah.
But now you're Tempai, and there it goes.
You're feeling a little sad that you didn't end up getting the Chanta as well, but you'll absolutely take this as dealer Ricci Diamond weight with tons of Fu.
Yes, 16 Fu just from the start here. So on a Roan, it's 50. On Sumo, it's 40.
Weight is 3 left in the wall.
Yeah, weight's not great, but it's still a 1-4. Any class A Ryaman, just an easy slam.
Dora has now come out 2 times. So Eric can see 3. It might incentivize him to push a little bit.
Bit of a backfire there for Eric. Could have had Itsu Tempai.
Oh. Well,
리치,
gonna jam this one. 8 so is
Well,
safe.
okay, good enough.
All right,
Ricci Dora 1 on 3-6 so.
also 3 in the wall. And right now it looks like Kaz might be struggling a bit to defend. Finds 2, so one of the few
Con.
tiles that save. Con!
With where Eric is in the standing, you have to.
Oh, absolutely.
That's not even a consideration.
9 so becomes the new door. That doesn't help either of these Ricci players, but of course the new Uda indicator definitely has a possibility to have a big impact.
Yeah, just 1-4 versus 3-6.
All these so tiles that are not the ones that deal in. 258 Suji
Well, they
clear.
seem to all be on the
Tsumo.
same Suji line. Well, there's your 4. Reach Tsumo.
Check the
2 Aura chances, misses both, but still you get the 3900 and the Ricci stick back.
Did you see what the original in Uda was? 6-0. Would have given Eric Uda 4.
Yeah, that's what you hope for, but you still have to win the hand first.
Oh, does Andrew con? He does.
I'm not that surprised by this, just because he's in 4th. And you like the draw here. That's one where if it actually comes out from the player to my left, I might pass it, but you're jumping 2 other people here to be able to take it. And yeah, obviously just brute forces the Honetsu from this.
Yakuhai Honitsu is a Mungan. It would be enough to put him into 3rd, potentially even 2nd, and over 30,000.
Or just Sumo and you get, yeah, Sumo would get 2nd. And this isn't, the shapes are good enough. This is not a hard hand to finish.
No, you're just 1 pair away from really feeling comfortable. Speaking of pairs, though, 5 of them to the right. Kazi Shantem for Chitoy.
Speaking of Ishunten for Chitoy.
Dealer also aiming for Dora Tonki. Dora held by Eric, actually. Discards 1.
No, just playing efficiency. I don't really like the 1-1 cut there, but it does play efficiency. I think 3-so feels better.
Yeah, 2 more to 3
Maybe
so.
2-pin.
Yeah, 2-pin, I mean. That hesitation.
Well, now we have headless there on the left. Or at least, well, we have a head, but we're Ishunten.
Yeah, 7, 8, 9
You
pin.
figure you're going to pull in the 1-pin at some point, but the problem is you have 2 people going for Chinitsu in the same suit, which is always hilarious. Tempai for dealer here, and now you're like, wait, maybe I should have been waiting on the 1-mon.
Does not slam reach on Sanzo, probably because it's close to the original 5-so Dora.
Just looking for kind of any upgrade. This would be Furitan and Hellweight. No, it's Deadened.
Yeah, not a good Ricci.
Yeah.
Eric Ishanten. Everybody Ishanten.
Now you're sad you threw the 9-mon, because you could be looking at Suanko.
Amazingly, the 3-so is just live in the wall. It's feeling like this could be a 2400 win any second.
How's the 6? It doesn't look terrible, but the 3-so is good, and there it is, and there's the win. You're always a little sad to get a Chitoy only like that, but all the way to 29-6 was pretty doomed, it looked like, coming in, but it's just pulled hand after hand, and almost back to 30K now.
And how about another hand? Starts with Dora 2 and excellent shapes. Fills 1 immediately as well. Could be another win for Riley. Kaz might have something to say about that on the right. Shouldn't call available. Also has enough blocks to win. Currently Ishantem. And Eric.
Well, Kaz was so far ahead in this game, and is now just like, get me out of here.
Eric as well, ready to pass the dealership forward. Temp calls it a temp by now. Oh no, not Tempai.
No, calls for the Honitsu, yeah. Jen, with where Eric is in the standing, you just go big every hand.
Yeah.
And even here, you're not even that sad. And I probably would have cut the 9-so first just in case I paired up the Dora, but this is fine.
Sure, Toy, the equivalent to Honitsu. Dora 2, the equivalent to Honitsu, rather. So now has...
And there you are, Tempai on 7-8. Which are going to be likely to come out pretty easily because the 9's been called. They're not very useful tiles.
Just waiting to see one drawn. And I remember Eric winning a big hand earlier in this game. With a Shabo. It was the 2-3 pin Shabo. Oh, passes
Easy
the con.
Oh, no, I strongly disagree with that. You con this. Again, if you're making the value play, just go for it. Oh, just Sumo. Never mind. Not only gets a Sumo, but the extra Ricci stick, and is now in first place. I guess he knew exactly what to do there.
Absolutely, and it will send us into all last. Now, Kaz has a chance to reclaim the lead, but we'll have to go another round if that's the case. That'll give Eric a chance to respond as well. Meantime, Riley and Andrew both below 30,000 with a goal of turning their point score into a floating score. It's going to be difficult for Andrew sitting over 10,000 points away from 30k though. He might turn his attention to just passing Riley at this point. Although I gotta say, Andrew's got an exciting hand over there. Chito Ishanten with potential Dora 2.
I mean, if you're going Cheeto, you have to just cut the 8 so here. Yeah, there it goes.
Could have even considered cutting it before the 8 mon and trying to go for like Honitsu Chito Dora 2 to
Yeah,
get
I
over
think I'd have
30k.
done that as well, but this works out. You end up this. Oh well, now you may even just go for Suanko. Oh, I don't think I like the Formon. I think you just cut the pay here. I mean, I'm always an advocate of waiting on Pitonki, but at the same time, if that's not the way the hand goes, you have to be willing to accept it.
Yeah, Andrew's looking at this thing. I like Pei. I like West. I like the 2 mon. They all look like tiles that could come out from other players.
No, and there's your backfire on the 8.
Even then, if you had the 8 pair, you'd have to like, do I cut force or force? So now go for it all. Probably just
And
slam the 10
similarly,
play.
there's your 3. If you keep the 4, you can even pull that and move a different direction. But it's just decided it's Cheetoy, and that's the end of that.
Nope, door came out. Will Eric follow? Does not.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, that gave a chance for Andrew to find Tempai and slam Ricci on the door in between it being safe and it not being safe. Eric is probably, I think you can read that something fishy is happening in Andrew's hand. You might suspect Chitoy.
Well, just the general thought of, wait, why is Pei still sitting in that hand? That's just a bunch of mid tiles anyway. And we have a Dama on the left. This is no Yaku on the 1 pin, but it can Dama and win on the 4.
Yeah, I wonder what Riley is waiting for.
Riley has to be waiting for some sort of value upgrade, but I don't see it. And I like, if you're in this situation, you almost just have to take this because I just don't see any value upgrades.
Yeah, you're essentially
Which is why I don't like the Dama in the first place, but we'll take it and take a small third penalty. But Eric, the big winner here, 22. Cavs with 9.3. Riley does get the -7 there, and Andrew in fourth with -24.3.
All right, so 2 wins for Eric in the conclusion of the series. And that means we've got ourselves set up for an exciting session 6. Only one table yet to play. The Julian, Kenyon, Aaron, and Jen table. That will be happening, I believe, Friday. Let me check the calendar for that.
I think we're going to jump over to B22 now.
Yeah, let's do that. There's a chance that we'll be casting at least a couple games from that other A2 table later. Make it a short stream to round things out for that division.
But yeah, so this table is going to be Jason, Jake, Jeffrey, and Jinlong.
Almost a full J table.
Well, if you pronounce the Jinlong that way, then I guess you can get it close enough.
I'm a fan of butchering names for the sake of alliteration. Let's do it.
Stream value, as they say.
Okay, looks like we're joining in East 1. Perfect. And of course, the sound never turns on properly, so let's get that to happen.
Oh, well, that's a nice, exciting hand to walk into.
8.
Just E-shunt in here. This is Jason is first dealer, Jake is on the right, Jeffrey is across, and Jinlong is on the left.
And
Tempai on the left for 5-8 pin. For Payton. Now the upgrade here doesn't actually give you any upgrades, so you just shove that.
yeah, you look at the discards to your right and be like, ah, he'll drop a 5 mon. And then say, you know what, 5/8's better.
Well, that's an interesting draw there across, and this is just
Boom.
Tempai, easy call. I mean, you're not thrilled with Baka on here, but if it comes, you take it.
And you have a great shape to improve that shape. The problem is,
That's Tempai across the way now. Possible Sananko.
ooh, Chizutadama.
Thinks the weight is garbage and is correct about that. But oh,
Tsumo.
sure missed out on Ippatsumo, but it does get Sumo Sananko.
That's pretty
So
good.
not that much value lost unless there was an Aura 3 bomb we didn't see.
That will shift us to.
But yes, this is Jake who's dealer. Pretty standard Pinfu hand here on the right. Maybe an Ipeco. You'd love to draw a Dora, get something there. Across the way, Haku pair. Nothing fancy on the left. And a lot of pretty boring hands. Nothing all that exciting. No big Dora shapes. Everything except for the hand across, which is a pretty normal Pinfu. And the hand across, which is a call the Haku and move.
Yeah, lack of Dora. Certainly evident.
And when you have the 5 Dora, when people get them, they're going to use them. The only reason you wouldn't is if you have this weird hand, like we see here in front of us for Jake, that doesn't have any So tiles.
I keep scanning the board and trying to find a path to value, and it's just not there.
No, it's really not there. The hand on the left could turn into something at this point, but maybe dealer gets to Itsu, has 2 options for it, but everything here is just a stretch.
It's always nerve-wracking to play the hand when everyone looks like they're doing Tanyo, and the door is the 5. And you don't have any Dora.
Yeah, because I mean, someone else does. And the answer is, well, one person actually has 1, but there are 3 in the wall still.
All right, useful tile finally. Ishanten now.
Yeah, 2 pins the normal cut here.
Very wide for Jake. And that's the...
Well, there's one of those Dora we were looking for.
2 away now. Oh, how greedy do you want to be? No, not greedy. Okay. Could jam the 8 pin and say I'm just Itsu Ishanten.
1.
That requires drawing very specifically the 3 and the 4. Instead, it'll be a Jeffrey Ricci waiting on Sanzo.
Yeah, just Ichinomi, but it's acceptable. And you think it's okay when you see all these Tuso having come out.
Yeah, in fact, totally live in the wall. There's a Dora.
And there's one of those Dora, yeah. Oh yeah, speaking of Sanzo, it's don't remind me.
Oh. You're referencing the wait where everyone was waiting on Sanzo?
Yeah, there was a hand in a games that wasn't broadcast I was in that had 3 people waiting on Sanzo, 2 with a 3-6 weight and 1 with a 3 so weight. And the all 4 of the potential
Tsumo.
on the top left of the wall were 3-so, and the dead wall, so it was completely dead from the start. There's our Sumo. Reach Sumo Dora.
Why's the
Gets the aura there, so it's going to be a nice little win, and we'll get rewarded with the dealer turn as well.
Yeah, so right now it's a Jeffrey Nomi table. We've got only Jeffrey wins.
I mean, that's how you rack up the points, is just win hands.
Early pawn here? Or is he going to pass? Does choose to let that first chain
Passes
pass.
this. The shapes are... These are the types of middling hands where I take a look at my hand and ask a simple question. Do I have a Dora? And if I have a Dora, we just go.
Yeah, Shinlong taking the perspective of I'm going to wait and see if I can draw a towel next to the Dora before I commit. Ooh, interesting 9-mon draw for Jeffrey. Might turn into 789. Goes ahead and discards the 6
Yeah,
pin
going towards the
preemptively.
Sanchika wrap. Oh no, and Jinlong just suffering with those discards. Because this would be a really strong Yishan 10.
Truly living up to his 10-hole handle.
Yes, unlock certainly fitting here.
Another 9-pin. Awkward. Awkward draws for everyone.
You don't mind the 9-pin here because you're setting yourself up for a really disgusting Suji trap later. Alternatively, if you get like a 7-pin, you're not even mad about it because then you're thinking Junshan.
Oh, and 2-pin as well. Can move you in that direction. Maybe 7 so? Oh, you have Chi-Toy options too. I don't want to give up on that.
With 3 of those 4-mon out, you're thinking even the 1-mon looks pretty good to connect to. I think I
Right.
might have even gone 7-so. Just giving up on the Peiko, especially with the 8-9 having been cut on the right.
Pair heavy hands abound. We have Chi-Toy Shanten on the right. Suanko Yam
Well,
Shanten.
that's Ishunten for dealer. Should just cut the 8-so, though. And that's an I want Rion Peiko, which technically possible, but, well, now it's not. Now the 8's dead. And this is the problem. When you're looking at these Chi-Toy shape hands, sure, we love the Peiko, but with 2 of them out, it's not that useful. And especially with a hand like this, you're looking for a good Chi-Toy weight.
Oh. Now, Tumon feeling very live. As you mentioned earlier, all those 4s out means it's hard for people to use the lower side.
And we're seeing all these pairs in the discards. It's like, yep, welcome to Chi-Toy.
Well, we have a non-Chi-Toy Tempai, and Jason will slam this. Richidora 1 waiting on that 2-mon. It's twice cut, but honestly, who is using a 2-mon at this point?
You figure either someone has it paired up or they're very likely both of the wall, and that is the case here.
Oh. If Jason declined the Tempai, I would have immediately drawn the door into a Jiamen. Wait. That's okay. It's 2-mon. Feels good. Feels live. Another pair. As Jake gets rid of 1, finds a second.
Yeah, Jinlong. Not the person I was expecting to go for the Rion Peiko, but is Ishunten for it right now.
Fortunately, all the 9-mon out, so... And also, unfortunately, has drawn the last 4, which is a really bad tile to discard.
Tempai for dealer. And the 8-so's 1 left. So I think you just wait on the 3. And we'll Dama just Chi-Toy here. The 3 is dead.
3 is Suji, though, to the Richi, and all those 4s are out. Oh, finally.
Oh, just Sumo. Reach Sumo Dora 1, and he Aura turns this to a Mongon. Doesn't get it, but we'll take the 4,000 net. And nice win there for Jason. We move to East 4.
East 4, Shinlong the dealer.
Home.
3 pairs here. I think you just call and go. Oh, you have that door. If you didn't have the door, you just hard sell it on Honitsu. And gonna try and hedge both, either Dora or Honitsu with that 4-pin cut.
East Eve, if you get Itsu as
Chi.
well.
Easy chi. Yeah, there you go. I mentioned the 4, so there it goes. And then if you get, say, the three, then you can make Dora Tonki, or I think you just. I think I would have just cut the 8-pin there, but it doesn't cut the tune because it did just come out. At the same time, this does let you draw a 7-pin and just cut the 1.
Yeah, what
And
if
now you have a real decision. You just take the Tempai and says, you know what, this is good enough.
I not a fan. I understand it for sure. I personally can't do this because I have so little faith in Door Indicator coming out. And I've gotten punished multiple times because of lack of faith, but just feels very difficult to expect one of these 3 tiles to come out. Of course, if you draw a Dora, you're extremely happy.
Oh, yeah, then you're just waiting on this Tumon that looks very safe on this board. There's the door indicator you're looking for.
And now Ishanten for Jake. Oh, nice draw of the 7 as well. So now can redraw the 6 or the 9 so, or even find the 6 so for Pifu as well. And this Sotogawa trap on the 1 so looks so good. Other than the fact that the 1 so is pretty dead. 1 4 so actually 5 out.
3 of them out and 1 of the 4s out. So yeah, it's not great, but there are ways to make this work out. Any question, how aggressive is Jinlong going to be with this hand? The answer is not necessarily that much. This is a type of hand that gets you in big trouble if you get too aggressive with it, because the shapes just aren't there. And you have someone who's open twice. You see very dangerous pawns from the other 2 players as well, where they're throwing mid-tile after mid-tile. They're all obviously either Tempai or really close to it.
Yeah. Looks like he's ready to be out, cutting the 9 pin, following with the 9 pin.
Oh, the 7 so. I think that was a mistake for getting the 9 so there. You just cut the 8 so because you could always accept the 4 pin.
Yeah, I'm guessing that Jake is going to try to get rid of this block in its entirety because he's just too worried about these pin tiles for good reason, too. Oh, no, don't the pin tile.
Never mind, just throws it, deals in, but it's just 1,000. That's fine. I move to South round.
All right, Jeffrey still with the advantage.
Feels like we've had a lot of Honitsu, or at least Honitsu bait hands, and this definitely qualifies.
I mean, I've seen 2 here.
Home.
Dealer, of course, most straightforward Honitsu in the Dora suit. Jake will have to make a decision eventually about this 3 so, and I suspect he's going to try to play this more standard.
I think you just play that one normally. 7 pin's a good floater. You have something attached to the door already. Like, if it goes to Honitsu, sure, you take it, but you're not planning on it with that hand. Whereas dealer, you take one look at the hand, we're just going. Forget this hand. And the question is, do you con? The answer is maybe, just not yet. And I'm fine with that just because the rest of these shapes, with all these extra honors, once a couple of them pair up, sure. But for now, it's still a really bad hand. Just with a good route to getting a ton of value if you can pull it.
Jeffrey steadily improving across the table. 2 away from Tempai now. Very good shapes.
Wow, these draws are suffering for dealer. Look at all, you got the full honors. You're building Kokushi, apparently.
Yeah, and this... I mean, you could make an argument to cut the Ton instead of the Shah. To say, I'm never conning. Interesting draw for Jake. Has to make a decision here. Maybe 5-4, 5 mon, 3 mon.
Yeah, I like 5 mon, 3 mon.
This is certainly the most efficient.
Yeah, but you lose the value, and you just have the big shape. Now, what you're hoping to do is draw like two mon anyway. But if you pair up the 7 or 8 pin, you're not really thrilled.
Finally, another so tile for Jason. Continue to hold this potential
Yeah,
con.
but you're at the middle of the hand. Your hand's just a mess. So you're glad you still have the East and you didn't con. That's the only redeeming feeling at this point when you're looking at it. Well, there's your tempai. And I imagine wait on the
Each.
2-5
Yeah, 6 mon cut
with how the
twice.
6, yeah, because of the 6s being as bad as they are. And that is the decision. 2 is 1 out, and the 5 is dead.
Tough defensive act for Shinlong here on the left. It's the 7 mon, the 1 pin, and nothing else. And you have to worry about so tiles to the dealer's Honitsu and the Dora suit as well. So that really limits the pool of safety tiles that Unluck has to work with.
The Haku clears, and this makes Ishanten here for the dealer.
Ooh, Tempai. Or I guess it would have been Tempai if Jeffrey had kept the 9 mon, but this is okay.
Yeah, it's not Tempai, but you just kind of the other 9, so it's not a real problem.
That's a big 6 pin to come out from Jake, because now dealer can continue pushing the hand again after filling the 1-2-3 shape. 6 pin safe. 6
Tsumo.
mon, Nakasuji, but
Doesn't matter. Sumo, reach Sumo pin Fudora. Daniel, that's a Mungon. Any aura is Hane. Doesn't get it, but will certainly take the 8,000.
Alright, Jake rewarded for the early door discard. And now, over 30k. Close to catching Jeffrey.
Hand across is decent. You have a very good chance for Repeiko. The 7 so would really help. Well, that's like the most annoying draw you can get. You have a floating door as well, but that definitely looks to be the fastest of the bunch. On the left, you could just call the Haku, but I'm not seeing any real value in it. Now, technically, Ishan 10 for Richinomi.
We saw the Dora Pay come out immediately as the first discard for our dealer. And immediately followed by
Usually,
Jeffrey.
when that Dora Pay comes out, you're like, wait, oh, was that Dora? Oops.
There are some situations when you just want to make sure that no one else has it and can use it. And has done a good job if that was the situation. I mean, it's thrice out now, so definitely in the clear. And like when you're
It's usually, especially when it's one of those random wins, it's usually the oops. I will absolutely admit to having done that before.
Yeah, in Akadashi, when there's no red 5s, if all the Dora leaves so early, then it's hard for players to build a ton of value. I mean, you have the dealer who automatically gets a value boost, and you have any player who is lucky with Uda. Outside of that, you have to do it with Yaku.
And another hand for that is Ishunten for a garbage Richinomi. Tempai now on the left, not going to take it here. Probably look for some sort of Karigiri to set up a Suji trap on the 3.
Right. Or even like
9 so.
Confidant
What do you think of that 9 so?
So it's dropping us back a Shanten.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't like it for that reason. Like, I understand accepting. Okay, so yeah, it wasn't the Karigiri Ichi was the idea. I think the Tuso just better. This does still let you accept that 4-6-8, which is the idea with that Ryoncon, but you end up moving this hand way back now.
Yep, and it's going to
Which
be
you're planning on folding anyway is fine, but at that point you weren't really thinking about it.
interesting choice for Jeffrey. Can cut a pair.
Could cut the 3. We'll just go ahead and cut the Hatsu. Since it is 1 out already, you don't figure to be able to call it.
And you really want to call the South anyway for double none.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No. Uh-oh.
Tough choice
That
again.
incentivizes you to push the 3 here.
Yeah, I mean, the 6 and the 7 on both pass if you're trying to fold, but okay, goes with the South.
Okay, just gonna fold. Well, this is the same problem. Is there's already a South out. So good disciplined play here.
I can still
And
call
we
into
know
top
it'd only
line.
be Richinomi, but or it can always make that interesting.
Mm-hmm. There are a couple tunes somewhere in the wall. Well,
Well, there's just Tempai. And I imagine you take the Tanya here, so we'll Dama this, waiting on 3-mon 8-pin. There aren't any real upgrades, so the only reason you Dama is you don't really want to throw the stick in since you're in first.
Tsumo.
And that's why I didn't want to throw the stick in. Because
Ricci.
there's the 3-mon drawn there on the left, Ricci Tsumo.
That does put, not the biggest win, doesn't get him over 30k, but does give a little bit of separation from Shinlong in last. So moving to the last 2 rounds, the gaps between players can be ever more relevant.
All right, dealer with a pretty standard Pinfu hand. Shapes are not great, though. On the right, standard Pinfu. Across the way, standard Pinfu. And on the left, standard Pinfu, but with really bad shapes. So a couple mediocre hands, a couple trash hands, and everything relatively standard.
Of course, the slight advantage of being able to call here. No one else with that opportunity.
Interesting cut here with the 9-mon. Cuts the 6 away from the 4-6 to keep the 9 so. And oh, that's a rough backfire. And ends up cutting the 9 for the 9-7.
Home.
Does get the Haku, so we'll be able to chi the 3 or 6 so back if it comes out from Jake. And I would say you can always redraw it, but just looking around the board, I'm seeing a couple 6s, several 3s. It's going to actually be difficult to build that shape back. Time.
Yeah, your better route may just be pairing one of those 2 up and calling elsewhere. And really, when you're looking at a hand like this, in this particular Furton situation, I'm honestly looking for an excuse to go toy toy.
No, that's another block, so you can afford to jam the 4-5. Still holding on to this 9 so. Really wants the
Yeah, I
Dora.
don't understand the 9 here. Definitely thinking it's going to be a door accepting tile. But it's just so slow most of the time. If you don't ever get it, the hand's just hard stuck.
And if I was one of the other players around the table, I'd be very confused by this discard pond. Honestly, I think
I'd
it was
say
Toy
it
Toy.
looks like a weird Chanta attempt, which
Mm.
is actually kind of what it is.
Ishanten found across the way. It's not great Ishanten, but it is one.
Wait, is that Ishanten?
Oh, you know what?
Yeah, it is. Okay,
It
there it
times
is. I
out on
thought
the
that was
3
an 8,
pin.
not a 7.
Yeah, not Ishanten when the
Yeah,
3 comes
probably
out.
looking at it and was like, wait, what? And you should normally cut the 6 pin there. That was probably just trying to figure out the shape as well.
Yeah.
Oh, or it could have been a disconnect.
DC, definitely possible too. We'll have to wait and see. Ishanten on the left though. Okay, that one's not Ishanten. I can correct myself immediately on that.
Well, there's a door. If that comes out, we'll know it's a disconnect. Or an AFK or something similar. Okay, well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, just as the hand was making progress. That means Jeffrey has a little bit more time now to put something together. Also, Xinlong now Shantan. 678 Santo's
Yeah, I think cut
possibility.
4-pin here. You can go 6-pin as well. And he's back and now sees the door in the paw and he goes, oops.
Sees the 3-pin too. He's like, all right, what 2-pin? Also, Xinlong could have called for temp pie, chose not to. The door finally comes for Jeffrey. Far too late. Out it goes.
Right. Could even chi this and go towards Itsu. But the shapes just aren't there.
It's also hard if your internet's gone out for a little bit to come back in the game and understand what the situation is.
Right.
Like you've missed so many.
Well, you're also looking at the pawn for the dealer and every bit as confused as you possibly can be.
Right.
But you can just cut the 1-mon here without thinking too hard about it.
Might,
Instead, throws the 4.
might be gone again.
Yeah.
Finally.
Tempai on the right. We'll just Dama here, waiting on 7, so.
Jake will just hold these tiles. No con. It's also actually live in the wall. 2 of them available.
My guess would be on mobile with a really bad connection. Because most of these discards look like they're timing out.
Uh-oh.
Oh, well, there's your 7.
Oh, dodges.
But just doesn't really see any reason to throw it.
Yep, 1 draw left for Jeffrey, but he's more than 1 Shantat, so.
Kang.
Con, no draws left. Okay.
No, there we go.
Times
And
that.
is actually fine getting 3,000 out of the hand, more than it would have been on just a roan. So now dealer here up 100 points over last place after getting that 4,000 swing.
This is Shinlong, a very closed player. Not as close as Jake. 27.9 call rate for Shinlong, 19.1% call rate for Jake. But
the only person I can think of, the only other person I can think of that I've ever seen keep a sub 20% rate over multiple seasons is Zalong in
yes.
A1.
I think Jake might be opening this hand if a tune comes out. And
well, yeah, when you see 3 Dora and a Yaku, you generally just go.
We'll see if Shinlong tries to speed up his own hand with calls. There is a ton of potential, but the problem is you've got 2 of these 7-8 shapes that
Yeah,
require
double
the 6.
Otsuzaki and even the 6-pin is in huge demand here in this hand.
So it chooses to pass the Tuso. Jake with the overlapping shape could preemptively cut the 4-pin and just hold for the tune 6-pin
You just hold
shuffle.
both, planning to cut the 3-5 mon anyway and call the tune.
Yeah, the tune, a ticking time bomb in this hand. Wow, Jason with all of the 3-pins. It's going to stymie our dealer's 4-5
it's
shape.
Ishan 10.
It is Ishanten. Could be Tanyao as well.
Yeah, it's one of those like, wait, huh? Oh, it is. Well, it's not like Tanya with how bad the 4-pin is now, but they're always make something from this.
Ishanten for Kansai Chitoi.
Yeah, definitely looking to turn it into Tanya.
Of course, Armel does not play with that rule. Very few rule sets do.
That's why it's called Kansei Toys. It's never used outside of it.
I really would like to play with that aloud. It rarely happens, right? But it's hilarious when it does.
Yeah,
Ooh,
but the hilarity of it happening and them not being able to actually use it is also funny.
that is true. Well, we've got Chito Ishanten for Shinlong here. It is an actual Ishanten, and now Jake's got to make a decision. Do we go 6-pin, 6-pin, and just play with the door pair? No, 3-2. Still planning to call the Chun.
Well, we're about to see because there's the tune you're looking for,
Pin 5 so
but
for
it's
now.
middle
Oh,
of the hand. There it goes, easy call. Tempai waiting on 1-4 mon. This will be first place, regardless of where this comes from.
3 in the wall. And 1 mon.
Including 2 of the 1-mon, which look reasonably safe here.
Right.
Just go Tuso here, I think. Or do you just keep up the Chitoy?
Tries the
Keep up the
Suji.
Chitoy, throws the Suji 8. And we have Dama on the right, but cannot win on the 1, can only win on the Genbutsu 4, which are both in Zalong's hand, or just Sumo.
Sumo is good enough to take over
Sumo.
third
Sumo will
place.
get you out of last.
Ooh.
And you look at it and go, oh, okay. And interestingly, because of the Dama there, that keeps Jake at 30,000.
Yes, so he will finish with a positive score.
The winner here is Jeffrey with plus 20.5. The 30,000 even for Jake gets him 5. Jason with the minus 6.8 and Jinlong minus 18.7. So not a huge swing in any direction. Really close game here. When fourth at 26-3, that's going to happen.
Now we can see the big screen. No. Jason just outside of the danger zone here. And I'm looking at a couple of games set to go. I think I want to swap over to a C game. They're close to finishing game 1 of their series.
I'm told we should head to a B3 game.
B3. Okay, will do. I believe that one has started recently too.
Yeah, they started a while ago. But we'll see why I'm being told to go to it in a few minutes, apparently.
All right, South 1. Taxi. Is this... Which taxi is this? Jeff T.
No,
Taxi.
this is Jeff, who's a sub, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And then there's 20th Jack, who's Jack's son. Emily is Catino, and Rob is Rob Glass.
Okay.
Oh,
Go.
there's your 5. That's going to deal out on the left. Matsudor 1.
Jackson.
Dealer here, Ishan 10 already for Richinomi. Although if you get it, well,
Each.
this one I think you just take.
1-1, just a good tile.
Well, also, you just don't have too many upgrades. Like, that's about the only one, and you're still talking Richinomi.
Right.
I don't even think the 1-mon is a worse weight than the 3-6 here.
Oh,
well, unless you had Potsubo. That's sad.
Yeah.
I hope that's not what we were told to come here for, because that's just sad.
Misty Patsumo. Oh, and then second Dora. Okay, there's the
종,
one.
There it is. You figure you're going to win that when you get that hand. And we'll just get the 2,000 from it. We'll get back over 30k, and we are in South 2-1 now. Well, that's a hand on the right. But dealer here has a 678 or 79 Sanshoku.
Discards
Potential
Dora.
decent hand here. Just shoves the Dora, though. Just doesn't even care. On the right, 3 pairs of honors that we called. Across the way, potential Itsu, potentially Peiko. Plenty of value. That's a really nice hand.
ポン
And on the left, I don't know. What do you do with that? Chanta?
Cry. Fold.
I mean, Chanta and Cry, it's basically the
Home.
same thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, Naka Adi, definitely. 2 calls, though, for Emily. Yakuhai, and then the East.
Speaking of sadness on Dora, look at Taxi.
Oh. Follow cut the Haku and
Each.
gets punished. Okay, Ricci.
It's like that was the only way this hand was getting value, and it's just dead. We have a Ricci across the way,
Each.
Ricci Pinfu, and we have a dealer Ricci here.
Gonna be with a 9-mon cut, so safe.
Yeah, a nice little Totsu 478 weight.
ポン
Another. Okay, Suiso Ishan.
Oh. Well, Ishan 10 for
Oh my
Suiso.
goodness.
Oh,
Suiso
10 for
Tenpai
Suiso.
against 2 Riccis. And the South comes
Oh!
out!
There it comes! Suiso! Well, that's not like you'll see every day.
No! It's fighting against 2 Riccis with one with a Diamond weight, one with 3-sided.
Yeah, the reach are perfectly fine, and Emily says, thanks, we take those.
Absolutely takes those.
I'm gonna guess that's what we were sent over here to look at. That was definitely
yeah.
worth it.
Yeah. Incredible though for Emily. And nice to have that in your Yakuman listing. Or in the Yaku decks, I should say.
Now, Emily, off that, now has a decent hand here, but just throws the Dora. It seems to be something we're seeing a lot of is just early Dora throws if it just doesn't fit into the hand.
Yeah, I mean, if it's early enough, and your shapes are bad enough, I like holding the Dora to see if you can, get a little lucky, draw something around it. If it's later or someone's showing that they might need it in the future, then I'm willing to Sakagiti that. Or maybe just hold it to the
Yeet.
end. Wow. Maybe the door throw was correct because now there's an early Ricci from Rob.
Yeah, good weight Ricci. Will just be Ricci Pinfu, but you're fine with that.
Yeah, you're a little sad you're 1 tile short of being Sanshoku. Oh, jams the Dora a second time. That's a little bit aggressive.
Yeah, especially in first place here after having won that Yakuban.
Oh, no,
They
this
also
is just
tried.
sad.
Oh, and see, this is what we're talking about. Floating the Dora, hoping to pair it up, and then Anko it up, and I mean, then you're just in business.
Six nine still relatively live, especially the 9-pin, which you expect to come out.
Well, Chitoi Ishan here. Now, gonna maybe move towards Honitsu.
I mean, like, you just won a Tsuiso against 2 reaches. Surely you can win a Honitsu against 1, right?
Tsumo,
Well, not if they sumo.
Reach
Read
Tsumo.
sumo Pinfu, no aura, and it's gonna get Rob a little closer. We'll be dealer here on all last.
Yeah, very relevant Sumo, though, giving Emily the Oyakabiri, and also now with a chance to take over. Big dealer win.
Nice little Pinfu, maybe Itsu hand here with a Dora for Rob. I like the hand a lot on the right. Kind of a Pinfu hand. Shapes aren't that bad. Also has a Dora. Possible 4, 6, or 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku routes. Across the way, that's just Tanya. That's actually Ishan 10 for Ricci Tanya Dora 1. 5 Mon would be an amazing draw here. And on the left, I mean, there are 6, 7, 8 Sanshoku will come eventually, but I don't think you have enough draws for it based on the rest of these hands.
Ha, Tumon. Go ahead and cut away that excess 5. I mean, 2 so rather.
So well, that's
Each.
just Tempai across the way. We'll just throw the door indicator, and now potentially Sononko here would make up some of the gap. Oh, and there's the 8 you were looking for.
Rob's gonna fight. Ishunten? Kutsuki?
I think I like cutting the 3 so a lot more than the 5 pin there.
Yeah, we were missing out on
because we get the Itsu route, and we can still, if we end up
Each.
drawing near the 5, we get potentially use another Dora.
Jeff drew the ideal 6-mon, filling the Dora Kanchan shape. Now slams a Ricci 3-6 so. Now the 3
This
so.
would be Ricci Dora 1 versus Ricci Tanyao, potentially Sonanko.
Oh, just hold the
Well,
3
that's
so.
just a chase.
With the 8-mon, of course, because you want to keep
Definitely
the Dora.
the 8. So 3 so would be double row. There's one of those in the wall. There's one 1-mon in the wall. And for the others, we have 1 8-pin and 2 8 so. So the best hand, it appears to be Jacks.
Dong.
There it is. We'll just be the Ricci time now. At least get some of those points back, and we'll get into the positive after all of that. But, oof. Big winner here, though, going to be the Yakuman.
Emily takes the points for most stylish win in this broadcast.
Yeah, Rob gets second place with the nice little 16.6. Jeff, who's a sub, gets the minus 15.2. And Jackson, ouch, gets over positive at the end, which is all you could really hope for after you do Yakuman.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not like the Richies were bad there.
No.
It just sometimes the wall tells you, guess what? You get to die today.
Yeah, it's always a sting when you don't Yakuman, but at least you can say it wasn't really your fault. It was just the wall deciding today wasn't your day. It is a bit of a mental boost to get back into the positives, though. I'm always a fan of taking the small wins where you can get them.
All right, can we? I guess we should head to the C1 table now.
Let's do it. Okay, and I remember we barely missed a game from this table the other night that featured, I believe it was Donald earning 90 plus 95, or finishing with 95,000.
All right, so Donald is in front of us. On the right is Lewis. Thomason is across, and Gino is on the left.
Okay.
Of course, I will openly admit to being somewhat biased in this game, as Thomason is a member of my club.
Yeah, I really like watching games with my clubmate as well.
But we take a look at the hand. Dealer has a few pairs, but it's honestly a bit of a mess at this point. On the right, pretty nice hand there. Has a floating Dora. Good shapes. Can only just call the East and go. The best hand, though, is there out on the left with that Honitsu. Across the way, a Pinfu type hand, possibly Peiko, possible Rion Peiko now.
Ooh. You're looking to pair up 6-mon or 6-pin or 4 so, and then play ball. 3 so less exciting draw.
Yeah, because you really want to throw the Dora, and just does. I think I might prefer 6-mon here.
Same. We still
but
have the
at the
option.
same time, if that Dora, you know that the guy on the left is probably going Honitsu. So if you're going to get rid of the 6, this is the time to do so.
Okay. Committing to the Tanyao here. You could consider dropping the 6-mon and holding the, using the 6 so as the pair and having a 7-8-9 shape. And having Jiamen, Ishanten, but this is a value force here. Wants any Peiko of one sort or another.
It's going to be called, and Ishunten there on the left. As Gino moves the hand along. Cuts the 8, so not really going for the most efficient play, but just the most ability to call and hedging the East for a pair up to get a Yakuhai out of this.
And not content with Bakahon wants to find
Boom.
something else.
Well, okay, now you end up at the same place anyway, so you're fine with that.
Yeah, you're really hoping that you can draw a Dora and switch this weight off too.
Yeah, that's what you'd really like to get out of this.
Oh, speaking of
Still,
Dora,
if you sumo it, you're going to get at least the 40 fu. Okay, switches out since there's a 9 already cut.
with 2 6s out, it's getting hard for other players to use the 7.
Yeah. We have Ishanten Furion Peiko now for Thomason.
Will the dream be realized? No.
No, no.
Each.
I mean, you just reach this anyway, but you're very sad.
And immediately the
Oh,
4
and
mon is
hits the
drawn.
Ipatsu on it? I mean, are you going to fold off of this? Your hand isn't worth
Don't.
anything. He goes and shoves it. Richi Ipatsu. Tanyao Pinfui Peiko. No, or a nice little Mongon there for Thomason. And that's always the problem with chasing down the Bakahon is you're all left with 3 calls and no value. And you just look at that and go, what am I supposed to do here?
Yeah, it does end up being a big win for Thomason as we move to East 2, Luis. Now the dealer.
As a Pinfu type hand, probably Tanya. Also floating Dora. The problem is those Dora are being locked up on the right, hoping to call that and just go across the way. Now that's a hand. Potentially Honitsu, Tone, maybe even some Sun Anko in there eventually.
Yeah. Potential, I think, is a very apt word for
Boom.
that hand, but not yet
Yeah,
realized.
you want to get rid of those tiles. And now all of a sudden your hand looks significantly worse because someone just called a Dora Pone on it with a Yakuhai.
Yep, Thomason now the hand that everyone is looking at. Forget dealer, forget anyone else.
You don't need Shanti here. This should just be an easy cheat. Passes it. No, that should definitely have been taken.
Yeah, I see sometimes sometimes I will do a pass of a shape that I think I'll be able to pull in later if I'm missing shapes elsewhere. But in this situation, I think you've got enough blocks, and the 6-9 so isn't actually looking very amazing, given that 9 so is twice cut. So
Other people have discarded, and if you're worried about a pair potentially later, you can always cut the 1-2 pin.
Right. Our dealer now, Ishantan.
I'd chi that one even. Make my shapes a little bit better.
Chino pressing forward with the Honitsu plan. None of these players playing as if they're too afraid of the Yakuhai call just yet. They're not expecting it to be Tenpai, and they're trying to build their own hand, shut it down.
Ishanten on the left.
Oh, hello.
You're going to see a Khan. There's our Khan. Oh, okay, just get it yourself. So the most efficient cut is actually 3 pin here because you don't need a pair yet. And you get anything in Monzu from 3 to 9 and you're Tenpai.
Yeah, imagine drawing another 9 here. 7 Han.
And just casual Haku Dora 6.
Even
You
without
don't even need another one. Just an 8's fine.
Yeah, interesting chi here. It gives
There you
Tenpai,
are. Well, just wait Dora Tonki, I suppose.
and you can swap this Tonki to whatever you want, but Hanuman feels like it'd be a really nice win.
Yeah, the problem is you see one of them out already, and people are going to use it. The question is it ever worth just taking the basic Mongon alone? And I might switch if I get like 6 Mon, but that'd be about it. At the same time, I also kind of want to cut 6 Mon just to set a potential Suji trap. And speaking of 6s, there they go.
On a 50-10, there's another 6 Mon. So our dealer in a very awkward position. They've opened the hand, but there's no Yaku, so they're just holding for K10. They've got a long way to go before we get to the end of the round. And meanwhile, you've got this ever-present Dora threat. Oh, switching.
Switching out, looking for more acceptance here. Also, the 7 does look decent. The problem is, there it ends up dealing in here.
Well, no Yaku, so...
Oh, no Yaku, so it's not going to be an issue here. So, sees that the 7 so is very flexible to make a pair here. The problem is you're already Tenpai. You don't need it. And now that the 9's clear, just goes ahead and pawns it and waits for the Furiton here. ideally planning to call the 8. But there's our Tsumo on the left, and a Tanyo ends it all.
Yeah, I don't think the 9 was ever going to come out without it being cleared first, so unlikely that Thompson would have been able to win that hand, but Don does end the threat with the cheap Tanyo.
All right, well, Thompson will be dealer here as a potentially Peiko shape there in Mon and decent shapes elsewhere. Decent floater 3-6 on the right. Well, that's just Chinitsu, isn't it? I mean, one more pin tile, and I'm just selling out with a hand like that. Across the way, that is fairly close. Potential 1, 2, 3, or 2, 3, 4 Sanshoku as well.
Home.
And on the left, there's the Haku. It's been pawned, heads to Dora. That's just a go hand. Nothing fancy. Well, I was saying on the right, that was going to be Chinitsu, and now it's just not. When you fill that form on, your hand's already Ishanten here. You just take it.
Nice draw. And now you have a route to Mongon calling the Hatsu for loose.
Or even the 2-pin. And there is Tempai on the right. Would just be a Sanso Richinomi. Will not take it.
Interesting though, because the Chuso, rather the 4-so
Kang.
instead of the Chuso.
Let me see a Khan, and the new Dora is a 9-mon. Dealer does have one of those.
And of course, the reason I'm interested in that is because I always dream of Sanchoku. So imagine cutting the 2-so, drawing the 5-so, and slamming Richi, anticipating a 3-so Tsumo for Sanchoku Pingfu. Of course, it is a little bit safer to do it this way. Now, very wide Ishanten on the right for Gino.
Ishanten on the left now. Dealer also Ishanten.
Or at least 2.
Wait, no, not
Home.
yet.
Oh,
There's our
throws the
Tempai on
Dora.
the left.
And
Yeah,
we'll...
Dealer does still need a pair as well. So actually 2 Sean.
8-so completely live in the wall. You're not really expecting there to be that many live.
Tsumo.
That immediately pulls it
I'll
in.
just sumo it.
Right.
Akudora 3, there's your Mongon and your points back. So takes first place there. Dealer now is going to be Gino in East 4 here.
We're seeing some Dora bombs in this game. Pair of Dora again on the left for Thomason, but on the right. Exciting set of pairs there for Don.
Yeah, again, if you go Honitsu with that, it's going to be Mongon if you can get there. Well, you obviously call the South there. I really dislike testing that one. I think you just go with a hand like this. Maybe looking at Chitoy, but it would be so sad for this hand to be Chitoy.
Well, it
And
is.
yeah, just going Chitoy.
Chitoi Ishanten will pass the tune as well.
This makes his hand a lot cheaper than it should have been, and you obviously aren't planning on calling it,
Eat.
but does get at least a Tempai.
All right, all
Waiting
right.
on this Haku, it'll be Richi Chitoy.
If he puts some Uda, that will be pretty significant. Oh, this
Oh, just get a Potsu.
egg's coming out. There's
Boom.
no other safe
Okay,
tile.
well, I guess that works. Just hit it.
Now Uda,
Richi
show us the Uda
Potsu,
for Hane.
Chitoy.
Of course.
Or would be, oh, and there's a Hanemon. Okay, ignore me.
Yeah.
Just get the perfect draws to flip the aura, and there you go.
Exactly. Look, standard play is one thing, but perfect draws and Uda, way stronger. Way stronger.
I mean, if you hit aura, the game is just so much easier.
41-1 for Don into the lead.
All right, well, that's going to put Gino in first place now, and has a kind of a mediocre hand. But if you've seen Chitoy everywhere, this hand certainly has it.
Yeah, it could be a Haku again. Draws kind of
On
moving
the
back to
right, a
normal
little
one.
more conventional hand, but cheap. Does have a Dora, but the shapes aren't great. Across the way, maybe Itsu in so, maybe an Honitsu in so. Going to depend on what you do with that Dora. Possible 789 Sanshogu on the left. I mean, there's a Dora there, but the shapes just are a complete mess. You have the 1 1 2 3 4 4. So if you connect with a 2 or a 3 and turn it into a Peiko, maybe you have something. If you don't, it's going to feel really slow.
All right, we're counting threes. 3 Mon, live. 3 Pin, 1 in the wall. 3 So,
Bishanten for
live.
Chitoy now for dealer.
Yeah, we're gonna have to
And
give up on
normally you
Doko.
cut the 4 So instead of the 1 So if you're thinking Chitoy.
Now the Haku just
Because of
dead.
the potential Suji trap. And yeah, there goes your Haku, and immediately comes out.
Very aware.
Ishunten on the left for Richidora 1.
Ooh, awkward.
Ugh. I think you still just cut the 9 Mon anyway. The question is if you draw something for the. Okay. Is it going for the 4-7 acceptance here? But I think this slows the hand down quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm really trying to force the door usage no matter what.
But you can do that with just the 9 Mon anyway.
Right, and you're gonna pass the 5 later, so you're still looking at this con 7 or this penchant 7. The benefit of holding the 6-4 pin, of course, is that you can improve that to a better shape. But maybe with the 8 pin being twice cut, that's not even that optimal.
That and even the Peiko with the 2-3 being cut, it's not going to be that much more useful. But I feel the 5 would be okay on the wall at this point. And now you'd be a little sad because you just saw one come out. But anyway.
Now dealer has a different route to Tempai.
Yeah, we'll see.
Ooh.
Yeah, just going to play it for a Ricci, possibly Peiko, possible Sun Anko.
Yeah, 3 pin implies that he's hedging the Tanya route too.
Pom.
Could pawn 1-1 if you want to go Tanya, and that's going to be the play here.
Yeah, definitely consistent with the 3 pin cut there. Normally you play like 4 Mon, 4 So, and still hedge the Chitoy a bit. If you plan on giving up the Tanya. The ability to call, very powerful.
Well, you just pawn in your Tempai. Do not con this. And there it is, waiting on 2-5.
Uh-oh.
Dong.
And there it is.
Yeah, 2 So is always coming out of that hand.
Oh, yeah. There's no way you get away from that one, especially after the pawn there.
Yeah.
But we'll pick up 1,500 points, and we'll be a new dealer. Same dealer with new hand. Can accept a Dora here. Similarly, kind of a Pinfu shape. On the right, I don't know, maybe Tanya, but you have that 1-2 pin, so I think you just play it normally and see what happens. Across the way, Hatsu pair, and decent shapes kind of everywhere. And on the left, well, that's the fun hand. Do you just go Honitsu? Do you just kind of wait and see? Do you float everything? And with that 7-3 cut in Manzu, I think this is just selling out Honitsu. It's definitely selling out Honitsu now. Saying, if there's another route, it's Kokushi.
Passes the first chimp. Wants more draws. At this point, Don recognizes that there's definitely something suspicious going on the left. Maybe I could call for Tanyao. It's going to be Thompson pulling the 4 pin, though. Nice draw again, upgrading that pin shape. Dora is in the hand to the right. That's one that this really wants to win.
Okay, with that 1 Mon, I'm starting to think this was a Kokushi play.
Currently
by Gino.
8 in a pair. Well,
no, it was Honitsu.
Got as far as 9 in a pair, like for Shanten.
Well, I'm getting there now, but maybe he's going for Suiso. I don't normally like the 9 so good here. I think he just got one of the floating honors.
You could even like Chuso and aim for a Honro Chitoi. Albeit the 9/9 cut twice, so probably hedging Chitoi. The maximum acceptance for Chitoi. You do lose the 7 so.
And 6-pin passed by dealer here. I think I might have taken that one. Well, Chito Ishan on the left.
Don has a free route now.
Honitsu Chitoi. Wait on 6, 8 so or Tone. No, Haku's dead. Doesn't fit. Ooh, now that's an interesting draw.
Can still go like 3 so.
Yeah, I like 3 so. We'll cut the 5. Looking for the Ipeco.
Nope.
Yeah, I could have pulled that for Tempai.
Pull and cut 3 so. Might be worried about this 3 so at this point. Like it's Suji, but Suji doesn't really count when someone could have a pinch on.
Suji and Honitsu is never to be trusted.
Right. Pause on this tone, recognizes it's a bad tile. Goes with the 1 so instead.
There's the 1. Notices that there's a pause there.
Kang.
Con.
Takes a con. Look, gets 3 Condor out of it. But doesn't have a Yaku still. Looking for that Toy Toy.
Yeah, they're just
And
not.
just kind of out of draws. Well, dealer's Tempai now. We'll just Dama here.
Chooses the 258 weight.
Well, there's your 5.
Not going to deal in, though. And of course, not Tempai, so you can just cut something safe.
Yeah.
Oh, 4-pin. That's not ideal.
That's a Dora,
He'll hold
but
Tempai, I
it
think.
honestly looks fine.
Yeah.
And we'll get 3,000 out of it. So Donald extends his lead in first place here.
Oh. Lovely high pie. Chance to accept 2 Dora. And great floating tiles to attach other things onto. On the right, also.
On the right,
great
another
tiles.
pretty strong hand there.
Ishanten. Tempai.
And,
Yeet.
oh, is that just Tempai? Yeah, that's just a really nice Tempai.
Oh. And
With 3 Dora, I didn't even notice that.
Yikes. And Thomason has a great
And
hand.
Tom has a hand that's worth fighting for. When you
Uh-huh.
see that type of value. I think this is going to end very badly for my fellow clubmate.
Yeah. There's not all you can do about it. Your hand looks so good.
Dong.
Gee.
Richie, Tanyao, Dora 3, any Aura? No, will just be Amongon, but that's going to put a very close race for first now.
Yeah, the story of this game has been the Dora bombs. Just someone getting Dora 3 and then winning with it. Huh.
Well, Lewis, after that big win, is now dealer here in South 2.
9 tiles
Has
to
a
Kokushi.
Dora and not much else.
Like
On the right, it's a Pinfu type hand. Getting kind of close. 5-pin would really help. Across the way, Haku pair, 2 Dora. Nice callable hand there. And on the left, kind of a regular hand. Nothing fancy here.
Sanchanten for Luis. Throws the Dora, says, you know
Well,
what?
there's a Dora. I'd pull that.
Oh, yeah. Gino not taking it. I wonder if Gino is a very closed style player. It feels like he's been passing several calls. He's had a 32% call rate this season, so that's not terribly closed. It looks like he's aiming for more than just Mongon now. I guess Honitsu Yako Haidora 3 is still Hane. So
Well, I think the value play is the one right in front of us, just all out on Kokushi.
absolutely. Still 3 away from Tempai. Could even be 13-sided. But Thompson with a great looking hand as well for Tanya. Gives up on the 1-mon. Maybe seeing the 3-4 mon as well and thinking this Jiamen not so great.
May also just want to clear it now while there's time.
Mm-hmm. Dion Shanten now.
Boom.
Looking for some otter tiles. Haku, Non. Any pair. Shanten though for Don goes with the 2-mon. And another pair for Tom now. Ishanten for Chitoy.
Chitoy on the right, Ishunten. And that's like the perfect time. Well, I guess not
Chi.
perfect, but it does get you to Ishunten. And now you're just Tempai,
Chi.
waiting on 3-so. This is Honetsu Dora 2, so Mongon. And Thompson just throws the 5-so out.
Daring cut against a Honitsu for sure. Haku, only one left in the wall. Oh, there's the Non. Still pairless. Haku in any pair required for Luis here. 5-so's not it. Perhaps it's if he had noticed the 5-so came out from Thomason and that there were
Right.
no Tadashi, no tiles discarded from hand, probably would have just jammed with the 5-so.
Just probably just be 7-mon.
Considering cutting Haku perhaps for Chinitsu, but decides to stand firm with the Tempai. How has Luis
No,
not
and
drawn
just
a pair?
doesn't get there. Well, there's our Chitoy on the right.
Beach.
Okay, taking the non-50-10 weight. The 2-pin just came out, 2 in the wall as well. 5-so Genbutsu to 3-shi. Still no pair. 9-so clears.
Can still technically win this hand.
And needs to draw it right now. Finds it. Haku.
Gets it. Tempai.
One
If
left.
this last Haku comes, it'll deal in.
Buried. Dead walled. And the hand is revealed.
And everyone goes, oh my god, what was that?
You never expect them to have it. But then it really... Oh! Almost double Richi. Ishanten. I almost like cutting the 8-mon here and planning to go 1-so for Tanya in the future.
I might just cut the 1-so to begin with.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. But I mean, we also saw early Richi Shabo on a terminal tile, very strong.
Oh, yes. On the right, kind of Pinfu hand, nothing fancy here. Across the way, south pair can probably just call and go here. Possible 1-2-3 Sanshiku as well. On the left, I mean, Chun pair, decent shapes. That's that Dora, though. And the
Beach.
question is, how long is that Dora going to get held? In the meantime, though, dealer says, you know what? I'll just fill this, and now we're just Tempai for Ichi Pinfu. Waiting on 5-8-so. There are 1 of each out, so 6 in the wall.
Door clears. Might allow Don to fight a little bit. This is his direct competition, so there's some incentive to chase here. If you think that this Richi was too early, they haven't had time to build a proper weight, you could try to fight a little bit, but looks like Don will pass the Chun. Meantime, across the table, Gino Ishanten, desperate for points. He might take this fight. Draws a bad tile and backs away. Had the Tumon actually to pass.
Well, a whole lot of not much going on. Could call this and cut 2-so if you want to shove. Instead, going to pass on it. Now we see a real decision point. And the 6 is safe, so can kind of hold off on things for now.
Don can fight here if he draws the 7-mon Tempai for 3-sided Pifu. So not looking great.
Not, they're a little sad when you draw that 8-mon, because it could have been Tempai.
Yeah, and Gino also could be Tempai here. Ricci non.
Well, wow, okay, that's a fill. Still, Ishan 10, but a super wide one now.
That clears the Tuso, says I will just take this efficiency. Don can follow cut Tuso or cut the Hatsu.
Tsumo.
Doesn't matter. Dealer says, I have to draw it at some point, don't I?
You would think so.
Read Sumo, Pinfu, and an Aura. That's big. Gonna get over 50,000.
Oh, another fast
And
looking high
Lewis
pie.
is another pretty good starting hand here with a Dora. And nice little Pinfu shape here with also 3-3-4 pin and 8-8-9. On the right, we have the double south paired up and a Dora. Across the way, that is a 7-8-9 pin and a whole bunch of trash. And on the left, Tanyao Toy Toy, maybe?
Seems like the only reasonable fight outside of just a Chitoy. Eyes on the dealer, though. They haven't really improved terribly.
Ishan 10 for dealer, especially you get the 2 pin, then your Ricci pin Fudora.
Well, so draws backfiring. Could make an argument for 9 pin if you hadn't already tossed the 3-so.
Thompson pulls in a third non and can now just go. I don't like the pair cut there because you don't have a pair.
Yeah, it drops us back a Shanten. Albeit the Ishanten that we had was not great, but
Well, you just got the 1 pin and not really worry about it. It's just selling out a door
Con.
donkey here. Takes the con and now it's 2 different types of Dora Tonki in the hand.
one's already cut though, so throws the 3 back. That one is the one that's easier to build around in the future, though. Like you can imagine reworking this hand to have a 2-3-4 shape and a pair of 9-mon have a among on that way.
Each.
But that's a 3-so fill. We now have Ricci Ipeco across the way. 5-mon, 4 pin.
Something funny you can do is just Dama and then draw into Chitoy.
We have a hand on the left that's starting to get very scary.
Oh my. Let's see if Don wants to play.
Yeah, you just
Each.
shove. When you have a hand like this, you just shove.
Oh, and Luz takes the Tempai, but the 2 pins are all held. It is.
Each.
And then this is just a chase. The question is, which one do you want? We'll take the... Oh, and there's the 7. This would deal any. You deal into the Tonki, it would be Sananko if the 7 is thrown. But there's the 5. Going to deal it
Boom.
across the way. Ricci Ipeco. 2 Aura chances and a chance for a bunch of pairs here if you hit any of them. But misses. We'll be glad, though, with a plus 6,200 from that hand. At least closing the gap towards third a bit. And we're now in South 3. Thomason is dealer here. Has door acceptance and mediocre shapes. Hand's not great. Hand's not terrible. On the right, nice little potential Itsu in So. Rest of the tiles aren't great, though. Across the way, pretty standard Pinfu and a Dora. 4, 5, 6, 7, where 7 is Dora is pretty nice. And on the left, right now it's just a regular Pinfu hand, but you'd like to go 1, 2, 3 Sanchoku if you can.
Of course, we got that. Ishanten on the left could be a fast and cheap Ricci. Ricci, though, definitely could pressure the board. Looks like Gino's, well, got the Itsu built. We'll see how far he wants to go with that hand for value. Looked like he was kind of moving in the direction of Honitsu with the early Mon cuts.
Well, now you're just set up for Itsu. Especially when you pair up one of those honors, you just hit the button.
本
Wait on the 7 pin here.
Kind of relieved that the Haku got called, so you don't have to think about holding on to it anymore.
Yeah, but that is also the last 7 pin now we can see.
Interesting call here. Do we? Yeah, I think I prefer this. We lose Sanchoku. We lose the Jiamen in the Mazu if one cut 6 pin instead.
You
I don't
lose
think option.
Sanshigu, but let's be honest, this is never going to be Sanshigu.
Yeah, it's
You're
back down.
dreaming, and there you're just Tenpai. You
1
slam it anyway, you're in first.
Patsutal drawn. Trust the outside 9 so. If you're planning to cut the 9-8, I would go with the 8 first just because it's 100% safe, but the 9 so is relatively secure. It'll be 2 pin, which has 1 in the wall. One so technically an efficient keep, but it could cause you to lose Itsu, so we'll see what Gino chooses to do.
Yeah, I'd probably just throw it back. I think the 9 pin could have been thrown earlier, but the rest of this seems fine.
From Genbu. Tenpai.
Tenpai across the way. Which way do we take it? It'll be the 4-7, and it comes right out. Haku Door 1 is the cheap end, but will definitely be taken.
Yeah, now it's a close race again.
Yeah, Donald closed the gap significantly, but was still in first. Dealer here is going to be Gino here, and all last. Has a Dora and a couple pairs, and that's really it. On the right, that's a much more standard Pinfu hand. You see how many Ryanman in that hand? 5, and then a Dora, so pretty good hand there. Across the way, Pinfu, nothing fancy. You have a couple runs, 3 runs, maybe 5, 6, 7 Sanshuku even. And on the left, probably the best hand of the bunch, potential Richi, Pinfu, Tanyo Ipeiko.
Callable Tanyo as
Distant
well.
route for Sanshuku even with 3, 4, 5.
If Tom's goal here is just to prevent Gino from being able to come back, might choose to open. These hands developing quite nicely, except for Don's, of course. I really wish he had Tsumogiri that south so that we could have a full row of nothing but Tsumogiri. What are these draws? The hand was set up to be so good and has drawn absolutely nothing.
This is called the backup Nagashimangan plan. The problem is we don't have that Yaku here.
Okay, there's a useful tile. It's a very useful tile.
Yeah, but at this point, you feel you're way behind in the hand.
Definitely.
Which you are.
Okay.
Well, now you could just go Sanshuku. I'd probably cut 3 so here.
Same. Don agrees. Door comes out twice now from Toyman, so Door Tonki not really a viable option.
Yeah, and we know where the last one is.
Oh. So
You could even cut the Dora here if you want, and there it goes. Well, now Dorataki is completely useless. Oh.
yeah.
You see, cut the 3 and the 1 and immediately draw the 2 because that's Mahjong.
Okay. 3 pin helps Tom out here. Still 2 away from Tenpai.
Oh, 3 so cut there. That's
Big.
pretty inefficient, actually. Oh, wait, or is it? Is this perfect Ishunten?
Yeah,
I'm having problems reading it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's perfect Ishunten. Now that makes more sense.
I mean, you could cut the 7 instead and also be perfect Ishunten, but this one
Right, which is what I was thinking, because I was thinking the 2, but with 2 of them out, this seems perfectly reasonable.
Yep. That shift to Tanya. Maybe Liz can start opening now.
This also gives you the possibility to go to the Peiko if you draw 8, so.
Exactly. Ishan now for Toyman. Big hand potential on the left for Thomason too if you can get a 5-pin.
Throwing the 7 Mon gives up Ishan 10.
It does.
Tunneling on that Sanjiku, and I don't think you have to, not with this hand.
Also, loose passes it. Could have called for Tempai to confirm first. Slightly awkward. Wants the 4-5-6 Sanchoku probably as well.
Yeah, you cut the 7-7 then. Seems fine.
Otherwise, you would just jam the 4 for the maximum.
Right.
Ooh, okay.
Well, no, you should be cutting the 4 here,
Right.
not the 7.
Tempai for Thompson as well. If you jam the 4, it'll be Sanchoku. The 3 is not Sanchoku.
Yeah, it takes a tiny here. It should be the 4 so instead.
And Gino cannot reach. He goes with a 6 instead of the 9.
Could cheat, but it doesn't even help you.
Don't.
Oh, and deals in on Hote for Hote Tanyao. Wouldn't have been the Sanshoku anyway, so no difference in effect.
Right.
But that's going to end the game here.
Actually, there was a little bit of a difference in the sense that the bonus. Oh no,
No,
it was all
Fu
the
was the
yeah.
same because you were close.
All right, so Luis will claim the first place, 30.9. Don second, 14.9. Tom grabs the minus 11.0 and Gino a fourth. But let's take a look at standings as they update one more time. Don in that guaranteed promo spot, and Gino drops down a bit. A lot of people grouped around 100 points here for the C1 division.
Yeah, and we only see the top 6 as promotions. We always say there will be more than 6, but we can't guarantee any of them. If you need a broad guess, it's been around 12 to 14 most seasons, but it always depends on who takes hiatuses and who comes back from earlier divisions. Those will flow down into lower divisions because everyone has to be filled. And if other people withdraw or take a vacation, then their spots will be filled, and the divisions below them will also, because they're losing players up, also need to be filled. So as long as you're positive, you're eligible. But and you're not guaranteed. We'll know that after the season and all the hiatuses and withdrawals, etc., are established. But for now, this is all you can do is just stay positive, and you're in a position. And I think that's going to mostly be it. A1 actually finished at session 5, so I think we can announce at least those tables.
Yep. Go ahead.
And all right, so table 1 is going to be Simon, Joe, me, and Alex. Table 2 is going to be Jonathan F, Oliver, you, and Claire. Table 3 will be Leon, Lucas, Viet, and Garrick. Table 4 will be Dustin, Andre, Zalong, and Matthew. And table 5 will be Max, Jonathan S, Will, and Kevin.
All right, we can see in the standings, Simon, after running away in session 5, has a healthy lead. But I know that in my table against Jonathan, Jonathan will be doing his best to pull up 100 points and maybe hope that Simon drops 50 points. It's going to be a tough battle in that table for sure. And the race
Yeah, I'm at
is
that
on.
table. I hope Simon isn't as float up as he has been the rest of the season. 29.3% win rate. Oof.
Yeah, hard to beat a player who's winning 30% of their hands.
But right now, you can look at the standings, see the big gap between the cut line now is over 70 points. But over 4 games, that's certainly something that could be caught.
Absolutely, especially with players that are on the same table as each other. For most of these tables, that will not be the case, but I believe it's 15 and 16 that are on the same table, correct?
Yeah, it's me and Alex and you and Claire.
Yeah, so we will be there will always be some exciting matchups to see if one player can dunk the other player and swap positions in the relegation zone. So you and I will have an interesting battle up ahead of us. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what will happen in session 6.
All right. Well, I think this is about when we wrap it up. So I know you held down the fort for about an hour there before I jumped in.
Yeah.
But thanks for that and getting the broadcast run and all that stuff. For our viewers here, thanks for watching. The obligatory plugs of our socials, AmericanRicci.org, Twitter.com/AmericanRicci, and YouTube at AmericanRicci. We'll get this slide updated eventually. Soon, TM. But you know where to find us. Everything's pretty good. And last thing I want to say is that's sweet. So I'm glad we saw that.
Oh yeah, good call out. Glad we got to see that. It was an exciting hand. Congrats to Emily for that huge win. It was thrilling against two Richis to draw into Tempai and win immediately. Definitely the highlight of the evening for sure.
All right, then have a good evening, all.